Here to give the command that will send the field on its way in the New Hampshire 300, our Grand Marshal from Aerosmith, Brad Whitford.
Gentlemen, start your engines.
42 cars fired alight for the final time this season, and now it's my pleasure to hand it off to three guys who spent Thanksgiving working hard, preparing, going to bed early, then getting up first thing this morning so they could hit all the specials at the mall on the way to the track. Alan Bestwick, Betty Parsons, and Wally Gollum.
A lot of places I'd rather not be on a Friday, Bill, and one of them is trying to fight the crowds at the mall. Hey, Benny, just 45 minutes of practice this morning. Weather's a little bit warmer than people were expecting. What do we learn about the race this morning?
Now, Alan, I think this warm weather has created a problem. It just might be a tire problem. Remember the trouble we had at Phoenix just about a month ago? It looks like we may be seeing Phoenix all over again with right front tire trouble. Goodyear, anticipating a very cold racetrack, brought a very soft tire that gets a lot of grip, but that grip could be killing these guys. The tire's gripping so well, it might rip that rubber right off the tire.
And Wally, let's talk about how the colder weather might affect these tires.
Well, depending on how cold it is. Normally, on a place like this, with the cold temperatures, the restarts could be real hairy, and also green flag stops. When you come in and make a pit stop, you're not going to have that time to warm the tires up like you would under a yellow situation. So the restarts and getting up to speed could be pretty exciting for these guys.
So just to sum this up, it's warmer than we thought it was going to be, so that might bring about a tire problem, but it's still cold enough. You got to be careful on the restarts. These guys have got their hands full today. It should be fun to watch. The starting lineup and green flag for the Winston Cup Series season finale is next when we come back to New Hampshire. Here's the Walmart starting grid for today's New Hampshire 300. Field lined up on points as they were September after Richmond. So Jeff Gordon and Ricky Rudd will share the front row. It'll be Dale Jarrett, who at that time was third in owner points, sharing row number 2 with Kevin Harvick, looking for win number 3 of his rookie season.
On the inside of row 3 is Tony Stewart. 1 year last year, 5th in July, was the fastest car in the 45-minute practice session. Sterling Marlin on the outside. On the inside of row 4, Bobby Labonte, the winner last week down in Atlanta, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. on the outside.
5th row, Rusty Wallace, who won the inaugural Winston Cup event at New Hampshire several years back, started 33rd that day, and Johnny Benson failed to finish the race here in July. 6th row, it's Kenny Wallace in the number 1 car that Steve Park finished 6th with in July, and Jeff Burton, winner of 4 of the last 9 races here.
On the inside of row 7 is Mark Martin. 10 top 10s here, still no victory. And Bill Elliott, the Homestead winner, on the outside. On the inside of row 8, Jimmy Spencer. 4th of July is his best finish here at New Hampshire. On the outside, Matt Kenseth.
9th row, Ward Burton inside. Strong end of the season for him. 4 top 6 finishes in the last 7 races. And Elliott Sadler, one of 4 drivers to get his first victory this year. Bobby Hamilton and Ken Schrader will share row number 10. Hamilton, the only driver to be running at the end of every race this season.
On the inside of row 11 is Robert Presley, won a push race back in 1993 here, and Mike Wallace on the outside. On the inside of row 12, Jerry Nadeau almost won it last week, ran out of fuel on the last lap, and local driver, this is his home track, Ricky Craven.
13th row, Dave Blaney in his last drive for Bill Davis Racing in that Dodge, and Terry Labonte yet to lead a lap all season. 14th row, Kurt Busch and Joe Nemechek, the 99 winner of this race.
On the inside of row 15 is Michael Waltrip, and let's try to talk to Michael and see what he's thinking. Michael Waltrip, Benny Parsons.
BP, what's up?
You tell me, how's it going out there?
I don't know what you said, Benny, but man, it feels good to be here today. A beautiful sunny day here in Loudon. Tons of fans in the stands. American flag flying in the infield. Had a great Thanksgiving yesterday. This is the way NASCAR racing ought to be. Fly in the morning, race in the afternoon, hit the road. What do you think, Benny?
Sounds good to me. How's the car?
I like my car this morning. I really did. I think Slugger and the boys have done a nice job on her. She's 007, the same car I ran at Homestead. It's got pretty much the same setup, so hopefully we can have close to the same result.
Good luck, Michael. Michael
You're on one to go this time.
And Mikey Spotter giving him the news that the field gets the green flag next time by. You saw the rest of the starting grid for today's New Hampshire 300.
You know, one thing that's going to be interesting to watch, PP, is the tire pressures, where these guys put tire pressures. Because if you start with higher tire pressures, you're going to get heat in your tires faster. But on the long run, that may hurt. So I think it's going to be pretty interesting to watch what these guys do through the race on the tire pressure issue.
I think on those right sides, those guys are going to really be hesitant about dropping the air pressure down, especially early on here, just to see what kind of wear and just how long that right front is going to last.
9 of the top 10 final positions in the championship could change hands today. The only one that's locked up is number 1 with Jeff Gordon. 42 drivers chasing the final checkered flag of 2001. 91,000 seats here. They all look full as we go green in the New Hampshire 300. Jeff Gordon squeezing to the lead, feeling some pressure from Kevin Harvick. Gordon leads lap 1, but Harvick's got that inside lane.
And this early in the race, there's not, Harvick slides up the hill a little bit. Gordon thought about trying to go back on the inside.
How many laps are they going to need to get up to the operating temperature of the tires?
Boy, I don't know. I'm going to think probably at least 6, 7, 8 laps.
That would be my guess.
So they're being really careful right now. Harvick leads as the field comes to the start-finish line, and we remember our fallen friends and heroes at lap 3. I'll take that lead back, thank you.
And all of a sudden, the 29 car of Kevin Harvick can't keep it on the bottom of the racetrack. Look how high he's getting up in the center, and they're just going to keep on freight training by him as long as he fails to keep it down on the bottom.
Gordon back to the lead. Here come Rudd and Jarrett for 2nd and 3rd. Sterling Marlin's right behind them. Oh, Ricky with a slip.
I was watching the front tires of the 29 car that time. It looks like he was loose getting in. Made a lot of correction getting into the corner.
I think that most of these cars will be loose because I think they're all concerned about keeping the weight off that right front tire. And the looser you can race the car, the better, the longer the right front tire will live.
A minute ago off turn 2, Tony Stewart and Sterling Marlin. A little contact.
This is going in 1 as they come off turn 2. Sterling does not realize Tony's there, and Tony almost spun her off turn 2.
I think you could quite see it in that replay, but some smoke did fly between those 2 cars, so somebody's tire made contact there.
Now we go back to real time, and nothing's changed. Tony Stewart still trying to get by Sterling Marlin. Stewart in the orange 20, Sterling in the silver number 40.
And they're racing for 5th place. Jeff Gordon leads, Kevin Harvick is 2nd, Ricky Rudd is 3rd, Dale Jarrett 4th, and then the Marlin Stewart race for 5th and 6th. Behind them, the rest of the top 10 are Bobby Labonte, Rusty Wallace, Johnny Benson, and Kenny Wallace. We're just underway with the New Hampshire 300 NASCAR on NBC. Looking down on the New Hampshire International Speedway on a pretty nice day for the end of November in northern New England. From our U.S. Army Skycam, courtesy of the United States Army, there are 212 ways to be a soldier. Find out more at GoArmy.com. Jeff Gordon is the leader. He and Kevin Harvick swapped the lead 2 times between them. Gordon has led all but 1 far, and he's moved out in front of Harvick now by 9/10 of a second.
Well, Tony Stewart was still trying to get by Sterling Marlin in his favorite spot off turn 2. He got a great run. Once again, Sterling comes down. They make contact. Tony gets a little bit loose, And look what happens to him. His teammate Bobby Labonte gets on the inside, takes a position away, and not only did he lose that spot, he lost about 4 more as well.
And then Dale Earnhardt Jr. had a little dust up with his teammate.
Well, with his teammate going down, looks like in turn 1, got right on the rear bumper, got the car a little bit loose. And it looks like he almost drove into the door there a little bit. Took the spot.
So Junior running in 15th. Kenny Wallace, who started 11th, has slipped back to 19th. Ricky Rudd, speaking of slipping back, has fallen to 6th place. Now let's go to pit road. Here's Bill Weber.
Well, Alan, this morning before this race, NASCAR President Mike Helton met with the drivers 2 through 10 in points. He wanted to explain to them how close the point race is and how important each position is. But he also took that opportunity to explain to them that if there's any contact on the racetrack between you and the gentleman that you're racing in the points battle and he has to go to the garage, you might find yourself in the garage. Translation, race strong, but race clean.
The penalty box door could be open.
That's pretty strong. If you make contact with someone and they back in the fence, they take it in the garage, and to repair it, you got to go in and sit beside. Your car may be fine, but you've got to go in the garage and sit beside of them while they work on their car.
And here's what's at stake. Look at the difference in money. From 2nd position back to 3rd. Difference in dollars, $546,000, 2nd to 4th there. From 6th to 8th that are very close in points, $156,000 between those positions. So a lot at stake.
A lot of moolah.
I figured we're in northern New England in November. I could use those hockey terms and you'd get them.
And he bought some new batteries for his calculator.
Amen.
I stayed up half the night last night double checking that math too. Rusty Wallace, 7th place in the 2 car. There you go. You want to check my math? 6th through 8th?
A lot.
$156,000. Look, Wally's eyes are rolling up in his head while he's doing the math. Dave Burns, how about Rusty Wallace so far?
Well, Alan, he's one of those guys that's fighting in the points. He fell from 6th in points last week to 7th with a 12th place finish at Atlanta. And he's trying to get by the 6th place guy in points. That's Bobby Labonte. And the 5th place guy, that's Dale Jarrett. But both of those guys are race winners. Remember, Labonte won last week. And, of course, the last winner at this track, the last time the Winston Cup competed here, was Dale Jarrett. So Rusty can get to 5th, but he's going to have to beat those guys by a lot today.
He's got to look under Ricky Rudd here. Rudd up the track once again and won.
And I'm walking through the garage here this morning, Rusty Wallace's crew taking some camber out of that right front tire. I saw that going on in more than 1 or 2 places. We talked about the right front tire problem. Too much negative camber can create some problems. So the negative camber leaning that tire in is a great tool to help the car turn, but on the right front tire.
Problems are what Ricky Rudd has right now. He's just shuffled back to the 11th spot. Benson, Jeff Burton, Tony Stewart, and Mark Martin have all gone by him, and now here comes Bill Elliott up to put the pressure on. Ill-handling car for Ricky Rudd, who started on the outside of the front row. Kevin Harvick is starting to creep in on Jeff Gordon, hopefully to challenge for the lead shortly here in New Hampshire. It's the New Hampshire 300, the season finale for 2001 for the NASCAR Winston Cup Series from the New Hampshire International Speedway. Jeff Gordon's your leader. Let's check our Wendy's race menu. Our final broadcast of the season will be next Friday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, the NASCAR Winston Cup Awards ceremony. Jeff Gordon will receive his championship ring. We'll have all the other top 10 drivers, the Rookie of the Year on stage, plus there'll be a special tribute to Dale Earnhardt by Garth Brooks.
Wow.
Should be big. 8 p.m. Eastern Time on TNT this Friday night. Hope you'll be with us.
And Sterling Marlin, all of a sudden, the 40 car backing up. Rusty Wallace gets by, and the Johnny Benson gets by, and now Benson on the inside of Wallace. Battle for the 5th spot, and give it to Maybe Rusty that time.
Benson has got the inside line. There you go. Talked to Johnny this morning. Thought they had a really good race car. Well, we've shown a lot of Tony Stewart scuff-ups in the opening laps. Guess what? We got another one.
Comes off turn 4. Oh, just lays that thing up against the wall.
And here he comes after Sterling Marlin.
It doesn't seem to be slowing him down any.
At 7th place he just took. Here comes Mark Martin in the 6. Another guy who had a really good car in practice this morning.
I watched Mark this morning, and his car was really fast after about 40 laps, 45 laps.
He was second best in practice this morning. Mark started back in the 13th position and is now in 8th.
Is today the day? 61 races ago was the last time Mark Martin won. Kevin Harvick had been closing on Jeff Gordon. Now he's slipped back, and he's going to lose second place as we got a car in trouble. It's Michael Waltrip. Right front.
Well, at Phoenix, it happened on lap 30, and guess what lap we just completed?
Yes, sir.
30.
And that shows all the signs of a right front issue.
Yeah.
Aside of the fact that it's all caved in, but that was the corner of the car he hit with.
Got to get it up. That jack will not go under the car. They've got to somehow raise that. Marty.
And you're right, Vinny. They can't get the jack under the car. That's the biggest problem. Michael said nothing. Slugger Labby, when I went by him this morning, was considering taking out some camber. And these guys are one of the cars that had a problem with too much camber at Phoenix. Not too much camber, but they cut a right front at Phoenix when they blew it. So I don't know if that was a problem here or not. We'll have to talk to Slugger to find out. But a lot of right side damage as they just now get the car up. And they're looking under the right front wheel well. That is Slugger Labby at the very front of the car. That's his crew chief trying to see exactly what the problem is and see if they can get this right front tire off to get the car off pit road.
Well, they got more problems than just a tire. I'm sure they've got bent control arms and everything.
As a matter of fact, I thought I saw Slugger Labby telling the crew to take the car back to the garage area. But right now, here's all the cars coming down pit road after 30 laps to check their right front tires.
Only one that stayed on the track was Kyle Petty. Matt?
Johnny Benson finally got by the 2-car Rusty Wallace. He pits in the 5th position. He says his car is good, but is tight. So they're going to make a track bar adjustment, go up half a round to Bill.
Jeff Gordon is in, 4 tires and fuel here for the 24. His car is a little bit loose. Going to make an air pressure adjustment in the right rear. Gordon has the #1 pit stall on pit road. Easy out. He's got 4 tires. He's on his way, followed by the 40.
Bobby Labonte said that his car was spinning the right rear tire coming off the corner, so they made an air pressure adjustment to the left rear. Also made a wedge adjustment on his car to hope to correct that situation. Alan?
All right, Dave, thanks. I mentioned Kyle Petty did not pit. Ricky Craven did not pit also, so they've stayed on track and will take the top 2 spots. Let's check how they came off the pit lane. This is our camera at the scoring stripe at the end of pit road.
See, Jeff Gordon wins that race. Sterling Marlin and Rick Mast, Dale Jarrett, Kevin Harvick, Labonte, and Ward Burton.
I believe Rick missed his pit stall, VP, so he came back around and he's on pit road now. Set to go back racing from the first caution of today's New Hampshire 300. Let's take a look at what brought out the yellow flag.
On board to Michael Waltrip and just listen. Goes from the corner, the right front tire is flat. Car just refuses to turn. Buckshot Jones sees all that, backs off, and lets him go.
Watch just over the right front fender there. Watch, you'll see the gravel and the dirt coming off. That's when you know the tire's down. The nose is on the ground. He's in the wall.
And Michael has taken his car back around into the garage for further repairs. Marty?
A lot of work going on the right front, Alan. They did tear up a lower control arm as well as some of the tailpipes. And Michael Waltrip, what happened?
It just cut a right front tire. I was really unfortunate because I come off turn 4 and it felt perfect. I went into turn 1 and I just felt it be a little bit tight. So I said, I'm going to run up high 1 lap and see if maybe there's some better grip up there. When I ran around the top, it pushed somewhat more. But I thought, well, nothing's up there. I need to get back to the bottom. And then I went down the back straightaway. And just before I let off, I just felt it vibrate. And I let off, but it was too late. So If I'd run my normal line down there, maybe it would have given me enough warning to get to the pits. But I slid up high just trying to get a better line for my car to run in, and it pushed, and I just thought maybe I got too high, but evidently the tire had started to gone down on a Napa Auto Parts Chevrolet.
All right, a lot of work left to do to get them back in the race, but they should be back in fairly shortly as we get ready to go back to green. Alan?
Pit summary, Johnny Benson. Ouch. Had several teams take just 2 tires that put them up ahead of Benson, including Sterling Marlin and Ward Burton. Marlin up to 2nd and Ward up to 6th as we go back racing. 45 car of Kyle Petty is 1 lap down. Now, NASCAR has planned on putting out a cautions from laps 45 to 50 to allow the teams to check their tires and so on. Report is that they're still going to do that. So this is going to be a pretty short run here.
If they're doing it 45 laps, that's only 7 laps from now, and I doubt very seriously that many of these cars pit. I think they probably ought to extend that to somewhere around 60 laps.
Yeah, I agree, Benny. I don't think anybody would be coming in for that.
Let's go to Matt Yoakum.
Benny, you touched on at the beginning of the show that there could be a concern today about tires and blistering or chunking, and this is the right front tire that came off Mark Martin's car. You can see where it's chunking near the outer side of the tire. Now what they're going to do is they're taking the right rear that came off this car and making a right front. Also, they went down to their teammate, the 17 of Matt Kenseth. They took his right rear tire. So what they're going to do, they've got a set of right sides that have gone through a heat cycle, and they're going to have a set of scuffs just in case this concern about the tires continues to build.
Matt, there was a serious blistering problem with the right rear tire on Kevin Harvick's car. Now, the team has already taken that tire back to the Goodyear area in the garage, but they're very concerned about it. Car owner Richard Childress got on the radio and said there are blistered tires all up and down pit road. He also said the 31 was another victim of a blistered tire. We'll be watching them closely on it.
And see, that's something that these teams would have done if they had another practice. You would have seen all these teams scuffing tires, because once you put a heat cycle on a set of tires, you scuff them, you actually make them a little bit more durable. These tires are what we call green. They're fresh tires, you put them on, and that's why we're seeing this chunking. So that's going to be real interesting to see what happens with these cars when they put that right rear and the right front.
And if you're not familiar with the story, these are not the tires that Goodyear was going to run here at New Hampshire back in September. With fears of the colder weather, they thought the original tire would be too hard and the cars could not get a hold of the racetrack. So they brought this softer tire here that's normally run on the half-mile track in Martinsville. Earlier this morning down in the garage, we talked with Jeff Burton about the tire situation and what the problems with this tire package might be in the race.
The tire has a tremendous amount of grip, and anytime you have that much grip, you have to be concerned with blistering. You have to be concerned with failure based on the tire wearing itself out. And obviously that'd be a bad deal if we had that. And you don't want to blow a right front here by any means, or a right rear or any tire. So it's just making a lot of grip. Speeds are incredibly fast. That could be an issue.
And, you know, when you're a driver, you put that in the back of your mind. It's not that you're thinking about it out there while you're driving, but believe me, it's in the back of your mind. When guys start blowing right front tires, you're just sitting there saying, man, I hope it's not me next.
Jeff Burton right now, he lost a lot of ground on that last pit stop. He came in 10th, he came out 28th. He's running in 25th now. Dale Jr., speaking of losing ground, wow. He was 15th before the pit stop. He came off pit road in 23rd. He's fallen all the way back to 33rd. He's all over the place.
And another thing, Benny, I know each one of these guys, I'll guarantee you, ask their crew chief after that pit stop, how's my right front tire look?
That is a huge concern, because just like we saw on board Michael Waltrip's car, there isn't anything you can do when the air goes out of the right front tire. You cannot steer the car. It goes straight ahead. And Junior's got some big problems down in the Bud car.
Started in 8th, and again, he's running back in 33rd now. Kevin Harvick starting to lose some ground.
Well, I think this is planned. As soon as this car, as he felt like chassis going loose or tight or whatever, he started backing off and not running as fast. He's trying to keep those tires on the car.
And if you remember at the start, he was really, really aggressive at the start of the race, Benny, and I think you're right. He probably heated those tires up too fast, and that's why they blistered that right rear.
Bobby Labonte took 4th from Harvick. Ward Burton took 5th. Mark Martin took 6th. And now Kevin back in 7th with Rusty Wallace behind him. NBCSports.com has the latest NASCAR news and results. BP's been writing about what's going to happen in positions 2 through 10 in the points.
And who knows what's going to happen. It's just too, like those political races, it's too close to call.
There you go. NBCSports.com.
And we will not make an early call.
New Hampshire's a long way from Florida.
Yes.
Yeah. Johnny Benson just took that spot from Ricky Rudd we saw a minute ago. That was 11th position. And now we're back on board with Kevin Harvick. Friday, November 30th, NASCAR Winston Cup Series Awards ceremony from New York City on TNT at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Talking about that 2 through 10. It's a big deal. Finish in the top 10. Only the top 10 drivers get on the stage at the award ceremony, and that's kind of become a demarcation point of good season, not good season. Did you make the stage at the Waldorf?
Yep, that's what everybody's shooting for.
The 22 car, Ward Burton, losing the spot to Mark Martin as Mark moves into the 5th position.
And here's the NASCAR caution at lap 50. This is the caution they're putting out to let the teams have a look at their tires. It was planned from the start of the race. They decided to do it anyway, even after Michael Waltrip's yellow flag.
Well, you figure a lot of the guys, at least from the middle back, BP, probably would stop, don't you think?
See Jeff Gordon trying to slow down to let Kyle Petty get a lap back, and Sterling Marlin wasn't understanding what he was doing and kind of kept pushing him right there to the stripe.
And Kyle did not get the lap back. It's interesting to see only 12 laps since the green flag. How many of these guys will in fact stop to check their tires? Because if they lose positions in the pits, they lose the spots.
I think I'd come in. I think a lot of guys will come in.
Yeah, so I was just going to ask, having seen what they did on the first pit stop, wouldn't you say, hey, I'm going to take tires every chance I can?
Yeah, I think you're right, Alan.
Well, we'll find out.
I don't want to say you're right. I think we're right.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Nice working with you. Watch that step. All right, pit road's open. No leader stopping. Mark Martin, 5th place, going to be. No, he put the fake on too. Harvick's going to come in. Andretti, Rudd, Kurt Busch.
Robbie Gordon's in. Bill Elliott's in.
It's going to be about half and half, it looks like.
You're right. About halfway, they start coming in the pits. Marty.
Robbie Gordon is in, and he had a right front that blistered last time, Benny, and they are going to try and see if the right front is blistered this time after that short amount of laps. To Bill.
Ricky Rudd is in his pit stall. Now it's going to be questionable if he's over that front line or not. Going left side tires, and they're going to work on the left rear tire, looking for a spring rubber or make an adjustment underneath there. Michael McSwain was talking about that as soon as the caution came out. Ricky not happy with the way his car has been handling. They've got plenty of fuel in there now, but working at either getting a spring rubber in or out of that left rear tire.
Did you notice the brake dust that came off the left front of 31 car? It's only been out there for how many laps since that last yellow?
12 since the last yellow.
There's a bunch of brake dust came off that left front.
So it's extensive chassis adjustments on the Rudd car.
Man, they're giving up so much track position. He'll go out in about 40th position.
Jeff Gordon did not stop. He holds on to the lead so far. Gordon has led 50 of 52 laps in the New Hampshire 300. Still under caution in New Hampshire, our UPS track fact, 13 NASCAR Winston Cup Series races on this mile oval, and the Jeff and Jeff show have won over half.
And only 2 drivers have won more than one time. Jeff Gordon, Jeff Burton.
We have a new leader. That's the race back to the caution flag. The black car up there in the back is Kyle Petty. Jeff Gordon slowing down, trying to let Kyle get a lap back, and Sterling wasn't having anything of it.
So much for that gentleman's agreement.
Cost Jeff Gordon a spot.
That's the easiest the 40 car will pass Jeff today.
Yeah.
That's what you get for trying to be a nice guy, right? Ricky Rudd and Dale Earnhardt Jr. have been back on pit road, and Rudd was too fast coming into his pits, so he's got to go to the end of the line on the restart. Not a big deal. He was there anyway.
That's right.
But he and Dale Jr. making extensive chassis adjustments here.
Saw a lot of guys. Saw Jerry Nadeau changing the spring rubber in the right rear of his car. So this morning, that 45-minute practice they had, it was something, but it wasn't enough, obviously, with all the adjustments we've seen on a lot of these cars.
Sterling Marlin only took 2 tires on his last pit stop. Jeff Gordon got 4. Let's see how long that plays out. Gordon, Jarrett, Bobby Labonte, Mark Martin, the top 5, then Ward Burton, Rusty Wallace, Tony Stewart, Johnny Benson, and Elliott Sadler. Make up the rest of the top 10.
And Sterling's running that line. He's kind of diming the racetrack. I think that's why Tony Stewart was having so much trouble with him earlier, because he was leaving that hole down there on the bottom, but then he comes back down to the bottom like he does right there. So it's going to be real tricky for Jeff or anybody to get underneath them far enough before Sterling comes back down on top of him.
And I think we're going to see a lot of these cars doing that. Watch as they go down the corner and let the car drift up right in the center. Jeff Gordon is starting to do that. That's easier on the right front tire. You're not turning that wheel and making that car stay on the bottom of the racetrack, therefore not putting quite as much pressure on that right front.
Sterling Marlin is the leader. Dave Burns is in his pit.
And Lee McCall stands by with me. He is the crew chief for Sterling. Those left side tires are going to have some laps on them. Are you concerned about them at all?
No, we're really not. Left sides look really good during practice, and track position is so important here that we chose to take the track position. The car's really good. We were a little tight on that first run and freed him up, so we'll see how this run goes here and just from there.
What did your right front look like, Lee?
It looked pretty bad.
All right, big concern down here on the right side, guys, but the left sides they think can go.
Well, you know, but when you change just right sides and you don't have those new lefts, that puts more pressure yet on the right sides. And the 40 car Sterling Marlin is a car who blew a tire in Phoenix, remember?
Unscheduled pit stop, Terry Labonte.
You're right, Benny, because what happens is you don't have the left side tires gripping, helping the right side tires. So you're exactly right. Those right side tires are going to be taking all the force going through the corners.
Look at the brake dust just in the few laps that Terry Labonte has run.
He obviously felt something he didn't like. He was out mid-pack on the backstretch, and he bailed out and came to pit road. So Terry goes a lap down. '14th and 15th place, Dave Blaney and Jason Leffler racing for that. Trading a little paint here. Watch this. Blaney in the 93.
And here's what we were talking about earlier. 93 is working down really, really well. Down in the bottom. He tries to make the pass on the 01 car, but the 01 car comes down like he's running the same line Sterling.
And Terry Labonte maybe ran over something from that. Maybe something had knocked off one of those cars.
Could be.
Because he thought the report we're getting from pit road, he thought he had a right front going down.
They all think they have right front going down right now.
Right now they do.
You know, with this racetrack's the reputation is the word that's coming to mind, but it's not the one I necessarily want to use, but the things that have happened at this racetrack. This is the place where Adam Petty and Kenny Irwin lost their lives in head-on crashes in the wall. Throttle sticking on those cars is the suspicion, but does that knowledge affect a driver when he's sitting here thinking that maybe there's a right front issue at this racetrack?
Yeah, you're not thinking about that. These two guys aren't thinking about that right now. They're, you know, like I said, it's in the back of their mind that there's a tire problem. But there's nothing you can do about it. You got to go out and do your job and run hard. As you see Jeff Gordon take the spot from Sterling Marlin right there, which I think this is what we're seeing on the tire issue, BP, is that the 4-tire thing's got to be better than 2 tires. But anyway, you know, it's not something, you can't do anything about it, Alan. You just got to go out and run hard every lap. You just keep your fingers crossed that you don't lose that right front tire.
Ricky Rudd, Dale Earnhardt Jr., 33rd and 34th places, Bill.
Yeah, and that's a long way from where they started up front, Alan, but both had problems with their cars, had to spend time on pit road. For Rudd, what they were doing when the car was on pit road was cutting the rear sway bar loose so it would not affect the car any longer. Michael McSwain, Rudd's crew chief, told me the car was just way too loose. Ricky made 3 stops, stayed on the lead lap, but fell back deep in the field. As for Dale Earnhardt Jr., his car also very loose, so they made an adjustment to the right front shock. Both these guys started up front and now have to work their way back in that direction.
Did he say cutting it loose or just unhooking the rear bar?
They cut it. They used a saw down there and got underneath and cut it, Wally.
Why would they do that, Bill? Because I know a lot of times they can just unhook one side. Did they have a problem with unhooking that bar?
What I'm assuming, and it's very loud down here to try and find out exactly, but what I'm assuming is that's what they went under there to do, and because they had the hammer and they were under there working on it, and I don't think they could get it, so when he came back in, then they went with an electric saw to cut it loose in there.
I'll be darned.
Those refined adjustments they make to race cars.
Well, that'll do it. You got to get it done. You only got a lap to do it.
Yeah, and a hammer was involved too, of course.
Let's go back and update what happened to Terry Labonte a minute ago, Marty.
Well, Alan, you and Wally were talking about the psychology that these drivers go through. Several drivers on the track are reporting they feel like they have right fronts down, and that's what Terry Labonte said. He darted on the pit road. They took all 4 tires off, put 4 new ones on, but the 4 they took off were fine. They were all up on air pressure, so sometimes these drivers talk themselves into thinking that the right front's going down when it's actually not.
And this is a racetrack, too, that if you get out of line just a little bit, there's a lot of little marbles on this racetrack. So the car will take off, and once that car takes off, there again, in your mind, you got a tire problem, uh-oh, I better come in.
And these cars are running so low air pressure on the rear. You can see the left rear, right on the center of the rear tire, how it's trying to, it's so low in air pressure that you see where it's trying to unwind itself, trying to come off the rim.
Let's go back and look one more time. This is a lap. We saw the 93 and the 01 bump together just in front of Terry. This is 1 lap later.
And here you see Terry Terry got into the side of the 01 car pretty hard. So I can see where he may be concerned about damaging that right front tire there.
All right, there you go. That was pretty hard contact. Terry is in 41st place. A lap and 3/4 down to leader Jeff Gordon.
Another thing about Terry's car, he may have bent something there, which maybe the car's not feeling right in the corner because that was a hard hit. So I'm sure that the toe or something is out of alignment and it doesn't feel right.
It's Casey Atwood in the 19, Kevin Harvick in the 29, and they're racing for 13th place. Check that 14th spot. Boy, Atwood has moved up great from the start of the race. He took the green flag 32nd. "70 laps of 300 are complete in the New Hampshire 300. You're watching NASCAR on NBC. Jeff Gordon is the leader of the New Hampshire 300, and our aerial views courtesy of the United States Army, an Army of One. Log on now to NASCAR.com and play the AutoTrader.com Move of the Race sweepstakes. Your chance to win a $25,000 shopping spree on AutoTrader.com and other great prizes. Speaking of moves of the race, watch Dale Jr.
As he tries to get around Bobby Labonte, goes in the corner.
Bobby Hamilton, the big dummy.
Sorry.
I got one in. It's been a long time.
This is for 7th place, Rusty Wallace, Tony Stewart, and Johnny Benson. 2:20 and 10, respectively. And right behind them, how about the race of Elliott Sadler so far in the 21 car? Red machine there in the tail end of that group. Started 18th. He's chipped his way forward. Winner at Bristol back in March.
talked to Pat Troston, the crew chief, on that 21 car this morning, and he said he thought that they had a very good race car, and obviously that would be the case.
Michael Waltrip has just come back from the garage area. 47 laps down. Michael involved in caution number 1 of this race at lap 32. Right front went down and he hit the turn 3 wall.
I bet you they got some camber out of that baby now, BP.
They do too.
Tough way to end the year. Coasting around 47 laps down.
Yeah. And it's hard to be out of the way here.
Yeah.
You got to run the high line.
And all of a sudden, Rusty Wallace is just in the way. And he goes up the racetrack a little bit, and Tony Stewart just dove to the inside.
This is bad spot. Rusty's got to get down. Oh!
Careful,
well, he tried getting down. You got to get down or you're going to get past just like that. Nothing you can do.
Good run for Robert Presley in that yellow car, the 77. He started 21st. He just took 10th. Last ride in that car for Robert.
And Rusty Wallace is not, right now the car is very, very slow. It's like something is wrong with it.
Well, like I said, don't forget, BP, we may get a shot of it in the corners. There's a lot of rubber and marbles on the outside of the groove here. And if you slide up into that, it takes about a lap or maybe even 2 to get your tires cleaned off. See all that garbage up there? Boy, that sticks to the tire. And when you go back down into turn 1, it feels like you have no traction.
Dave Blaney in the 93, another spot on Rusty Wallace. That's 11th. Dave, Rusty's back to 12th.
Alan, I just checked in his pit. Nothing at the moment, although they're talking to him right now. And I thought I heard him say he might have a vibration, but he hasn't said anything before that. So up until now, he was just taking his lumps and moving back.
Lumps it is.
Yeah, car there by the in-car camera looked like it was a little bit tight there, the way it pushed up in the middle of the corner.
On board with Rusty, way up the track.
That looks a lot tight.
And we can see, check his RPMs as he goes down the backstretch. He should turn about 9,000 RPMs. Well, it was.
Whoa,
9,200.
Yeah.
Wow. That might be the most RPMs I've ever seen in a NASCAR Winston Cup.
Man, we're ready when you are. Just take care of your stuff.
They're coming in. 9,300 RPMs. And the cars are so fast. That's what some guys at garage here this morning was talking about, not having enough gear on the truck to get down to the RPM they wanted, because the cars are running so fast here with this tire that's getting such a wonderful grip.
Softer tire brought to deal with the colder weather than they were normally getting in September for this race, but it's turned out to be not a bad day at all. Temperature around 50 degrees.
Now, we're getting there. I got to ask the mathematician. We're about the 30 lap mark, aren't we? 30 lap of green.
Last stop to 51. But remember, not everybody stopped.
Right, right.
They threw the green flag about
55.
29, 30 laps ago, so.
Dale Jarrett having a good day, running in 3rd spot.
Let's take a ride with Dale and see what this car looks like through the corners. We know it's fast in the straightaway.
See if he turns to 9,300 RPMs. Oh, 9,400 RPMs.
Wow.
Stay down on the bottom a little bit better than Rusty was.
Tell you what, I talked to Dale this morning right at the conclusion of that 45-minute practice. He was not a happy camper. He did not feel they had a very good handling car.
Did a tremendous amount of work on this UPS car to try to get it ready to be a good car, and so far they've succeeded fairly well. It's 3rd place car.
Todd Parrott, the crew chief, talking to DJ. Report over the NASCAR radio. All the crew chiefs are being told at lap 95 there will be a yellow flag. So
we will have a yellow again.
So NASCAR not taking any chances on the tires. We'll get Wally and Benny's opinion on competition cautions, if you will, when we come back to New Hampshire after this. Coming up on Sunday at 4 Eastern, the world's best cowboys dare one of nature's fiercest beasts. 2,000 pounds of fire-breathing bull, live at the Bud Light World Professional Bull Riding Challenge, Sunday at 4 Eastern on NBC. Hey, look, I work with Wally and Benny. I know something about bull.
Yeah.
And that's going to be fun.
And there's some beef, too.
And those bulls probably eat some big beets. Robert Presley is having a great run in that 77 car.
Just moved into the 8th position as he gets by the 22 of Ward Burton.
Must have been too much turkey and stuffing yesterday.
Good job. Nobody won't mess with you today.
Marty, what's going on with the Ward Burton's team?
Well, about 5 laps ago, he was running 5th. Benny, he radioed in. He said, I think I have an engine that's going bad. Tommy Baldwin threw his clipboard down, very upset. He's hanging it out right now, just trying to see how long it will last, but he has already fallen back to the 9th position on the track.
So that's the story there on Ward in the 22 car. Robert Presley moving up, is in a fight for points all of his own in that 77 car. Last place money paid out by Winston to the drivers is 25th. And Robert and Casey Atwood just 8 points apart for that money.
And it's worth $65,000. That's a lot of money.
That's about what BP makes a week.
Oh, yeah, right.
Hey, let's talk about the caution that we're going to see here from NASCAR in a couple of laps. You agree or disagree with putting a caution out in these circumstances when you've got a questionable tire situation?
They don't have any choice. They really do not have a choice.
And here it comes. Caution flag is out for NASCAR to allow the teams to check their tires. And let's see if Sterling Marlin goes by Jeff Gordon to the yellow flag this time, since Gordon's got to let his teammate Terry Labonte try and stay a lap back.
I don't think he'll do it this time. I don't think he really meant to do it last time.
Kyle Petty not able to get a lap back.
Well, there was a bunch of guys ready to go a lap down.
Bunch of guys did. Stacy Compton, Joe Nemechek, Mike Wallace, Ron Hornaday, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Bobby Hamilton Jr., Kyle Petty, Buckshot Jones, Kevin LePage, Terry Labonte all got lapped in that last segment of the race.
4 tires, guys.
Terry partly by the unscheduled pit stop we saw. So third caution out just before the 1/3 point.
And Rusty Wallace had fallen back to the 14th position. And I know he'd love to go in the pits, but he had no choice except to ride it out.
Yeah, once they said they were going to put a caution out at 95, you had to stay with it till then. Here they come. I don't think we'll see anybody take 2 tires this time.
No. Although the 40 held in there pretty good.
4 tires, guys. 4 tires. Nice.
Marty.
Tommy Baldwin asked Ward Burton on the radio, what do you think the engine problem is? He said, all I feel is a bad vibration. Tommy said, I think it's the right front tire. Let's see how long it lives. He is tied off. They will make a wedge adjustment to Matt Yoakum.
5th place, Mark Martin still says his car is tight. They put a spring rubber in the right rear, a 4-tire change, as Sean Parker goes to work on the left side to Dave Burns.
Definitely 4 tires for Sterling Marlin. Wedge adjustment. He was tight. He is leaving his pit stall now. Bill.
Jeff Gordon is on his way. He's got 4 new tires, a half-pound up in the right rear, just a tick tight coming off turn 4. He leads the parade off pit row.
Combo 9's got the side skirt is sticking straight out. See it right there?
Yeah.
Somehow we lost that. I wonder how we lost that.
I wonder if the jack got hung in it when they dropped the jack.
Maybe, yeah.
Pulled it out.
Good point.
So let's take a break. We're under the caution flag here at the New Hampshire 300, presented by the film Behind Enemy Lines. You're watching NASCAR on NBC. 91,000 seats at the New Hampshire International Speedway. Not many of them empty today. Look at this crowd. We came in a little after 5:30 this morning Eastern time. We were not alone on the roads.
Hey, I would never believe that we'd have a traffic jam this morning at 5:30, but it wasn't a traffic jam, but you're right. A lot of folks coming out to the Speedway this morning.
Pretty warm late November day in northern New England. Look at Mark Martin's car smoking. Almost had another jam up at pit exit.
The left front was smoking heavily on Mark Martin's car.
Brakes locked up, trying to avoid somebody.
Evidently, he's locked up trying to avoid the car in front of him.
They've taken the blowers out on the track to try and clean all those marbles off that Wally was talking about a little while ago. So this caution's going to last a few more laps. Let's take another break. Jeff Gordon is the leader. We're at the 1/3 point of today's New Hampshire 300.
Take a look at turn 2 and look at what they're blowing off, which is the marbles. This is the chunks of tires and the dirt and everything that winds up outside the groove. And if you get on that with hot tires, this stuff takes a long time, takes a couple laps to clean off. Then you have another problem where the cars are running right here. This stuff right here is the tire actually sticking to the racetrack, and it's like bubble gum. Not too bad right now, but that will get heavier in places, and it'll be like rumble strips that you run over like they have in the center of the highway. So you either got to be on one side or the other of it. How about it, Marty?
Well, Wally, earlier Bill talked about the right front tire that came off of Robbie Gordon's car. He heard the word from his team owner, Richard Childers. This is the right front off of Robbie Gordon's car this time. He took only 2 tires. He's up to 10th. This is the right rear. Also blistered. You see blistering on both tires. But Robbie's team may be in good shape. Let me show you why. Let's go to the other side of the pit stall. This morning in practice, his crew chief, Gil Martin, scuffed 3 sets of tires. On this end of pit road, there are only 2 teams that have scuffed tires. Robbie Gordon's team has 3 sets. They're going to put 1 set on next time. Casey Atwood's team also has 3 sets of scuffed tires. Bill?
Marty, this is the right front tire off the car of Jeff Gordon, and you can see he has this blistering, or chunking as some guys are calling it, on the inside of his right front tire. It's basically because the tire is soft, as we've talked about. He also has this problem in a very small fashion on his right rear tire. Robbie Loomis just finished talking to Gordon, told him about both tires, saying it's happening on both right side tires, but the right front is the one that they're watching right now.
That's a great point, guys, and I'll tell you what, those scuffed tires that are laying in the pits are going to become very, very valuable here soon.
Robbie Gordon has moved up to 10th place. He took just 2 tires on his pit stop. Jeff Gordon leads the field to the restart. Oh, Sterling Marlin got a terrible restart. 2, maybe 3 lap cars going to get in between he and Gordon. And 92 right behind Jeff Gordon. Joe Nemechek and Stacy Compton. They're the first 2 cars a lap down. Nemechek is in 32nd place. Compton is in 33rd. Robert Presley and Elliott Sadler, 77 and 21, 7th and 8th place.
And Presley dives on the inside of Terry Labonte. Goes by, here comes Mark. Mark, the 9th place runner, the 6th car, the blue and silver, number 6.
Last day of work for Robert Presley. He's out of this ride at the end of the day today and does not yet have a seat secured for next season. And there's Robbie Gordon in that 31, racing Mark Martin for 9th place. Matt Kenseth in the 17 right behind him. He's in 11th. While we watch some of this, watching these tire problems, the first thing you think is, okay, Goodyear brought the wrong tire. But because of the circumstances of this weekend's race, it's hard to indict them for that. How could you come up here and do a tire test when you knew the weather was going to be colder? You know, you couldn't do a tire test a month ago.
Hey, I brought the wrong clothes. I should have brought my Tommy Bahama shirt.
Exactly.
You know, we all thought it was going to be colder. So Goodyear, you know, they made the right decision, but it just didn't play out for them. Otherwise, nobody expected this.
See Elliott Sadler trying to take the spot away from Presley. 7th spot, can't quite get underneath him.
Elliott Sadler winning at Bristol in August. He has only one other top 10 finish the entire season. Jeff Gordon leads. Sterling Marlin is second. Dale Jarrett, Tony Stewart, and Bobby Labonte make up the rest of the top 5. Just past a third of the way in here at New Hampshire. The New Hampshire International Speedway with the New Hampshire 300, presented by the film Behind Enemy Lines, just past the 1/3 point of the race. And we're not done yet. After today's race, we move on to New York City for the NASCAR Winston Cup Series award ceremony featuring a tribute to Dale Earnhardt by Garth Brooks. It's going to be fun. 8 o'clock Eastern Time next Friday night on TNT. Look forward to bringing that to you. Mostly all Jeff Gordon so far today. Benny, you talked about it the last 3 weeks in a row, how he wanted to go out in this championship thing with a win. Now that he's got the big trophy.
And I thought that the team, Jeff Gordon's team, would be trying a lot of different stuff because, after all, Jeff Gordon is running the first race of 2002. Everyone else is running the last race of 2001. But in talking to the crew this morning, they have no trick engine. They have nothing trick on this car. It's just the same stuff they've been using all year long, according to them. As we watch Gordon come off turn 4, Kenny Schrader makes an unscheduled stop.
Jeff Gordon has become the hero of the younger generation of NASCAR racing fans, sports fans, much the way Tiger Woods has, and he's displaced the more established stars of the game since coming in, much the way Tiger has in golf. Check the numbers out. 9 and 6 years, percentage of their competitions that they've won, and championships that they've won. The Tiger Woods of NASCAR. Jeff Gordon has led 104 of today's 120 laps. Gave up the lead for 14 laps to Sterling Marlin, 1 lap to Kevin Harvick. But that's it. And right now he's out in front of Sterling Marlin by 2.3 seconds with 1 lap car between them. Take you through the field. Here's Bill Weber.
Well, we'll start at the front with the new NASCAR Winston Cup champion, Jeff Gordon. Things going well. We showed you his right front tire and talked about the right rear. But just a small adjustment to try and make that car a little better off turn 4. Jeff Gordon trying to win his first race as the 2001 champion. Dave Burns.
Sterling Marlin 4th in points, can take over 3rd from Ricky Rudd with a good run today. The car was tight. They did make that wedge adjustment. And earlier when they had only a 2-tire stop, they definitely stressed out the right sides more. They won't be doing that again. Phil?
Well, for Dale Jarrett, it's been a very solid ride. He's had 2 good pit stops. Not really complaining much about the car, just a little bit tight last time, but they made no changes when he came in. As for the 20 car of Tony Stewart, the big story here is no tire problems. In fact, I just said to his crew chief, Greg Zipadelli, your tires are good. And he goes, real good. Watch the 20, Dave.
Early in the race, Bill, I mentioned the right rear tire for Bobby Labonte. They're trying not to stress that tire, keep it from spinning coming off the corner, keeping from damaging it. They made an air pressure and a wedge adjustment the last stop to try to fix that. Matt?
Dave, Johnny Benson has climbed back to 6th. He had a slow stop on his first pit stop because of some jack trouble, but he's bounced back. But Benson is also fighting a tight race car. James Ince told me he is cautioning his driver to take care of his tire like everyone else because they are showing some chunking. Meanwhile, the 77 Robert Presley, Alan mentioned earlier, he's looking for a job for next year, hoping to maybe land at Andy Petries if they find a sponsor. But he, too, having a great day. He, too, having some very small bubbles on the right front tire. He thinks the sealer is starting to come up. He expects that to help the tire situation later in the day. Meanwhile, the 17 and the 6 teammates, Mark Martin and Matt Kenseth, both drivers having trouble with their right front tires. Both teams trying to put together some scuffs for the right side. Martin put a spring rubber in the right rear, hoping that it helps loosen up his race car. But Jack Roush, the owner, told both the 17 and the 6, be careful not to start to abuse the rear tire, because when you loosen it up, you will start to abuse that right rear tire. To Marty.
Well, Matt, Elliott Sadler's having a fine run out there. Just a little bit tight, but very consistent for Elliott, and they are having a very, very good day. These guys have not had a top 10 since Daytona in July. They desperately need a good run. Tire wear, pretty good for Elliott Sadler. Right behind Elliott's, right in the second pass for second place on the racetrack.
That's Dale
Tony
Jarrett.
Stewart.
Dale Jarrett and Tony Stewart going by Sterling Marlin. Marty, second, third, and fourth.
Thank you for that help, Alan. I didn't see that. Anyway, Robbie Gordon out on the racetrack doing very well. Gil Martin, the crew chief, told me that all they need is track position. The car has been very good. Remember, they finished 7th at the flat track at Phoenix, and this is the car that Jeff Green used to finish 9th with at Homestead. Very happy right now for Robbie Gordon. Ward Burton, remember earlier we told you that he thought he had an engine problem? Well, it turns out that his crew chief, Tommy Baldwin, was right. The left front tire was down to the cords. That's the vibration that Ward Burton was feeling inside the race car. Dave?
The 99 of Jeff Burton trying to chase down his brother Ward right now. He was loose earlier. Frankie started warning on the radio, we can't tighten it too much. Well, they did. They made a wedge adjustment and an air pressure adjustment to try to take that back out of the car. His right front blistering as bad as anyone else's. Marty?
Casey Atwood starts loose in second place again. The pass on the racetrack for second place. I keep getting into these things. How'd that happen, Alan?
That's Tony Stewart going by Dale Jarrett, Marty, and he's got it. Second place.
He's on the move anyway. Casey Atwood having a very nice run. He starts loose. He gets tight the longer he runs. I talked to Ray Evernham this morning. He wanted me to emphasize that next year, Casey does not have a sponsor yet for the 7 car. He said, we will run the entire season, even if we don't have a sponsor. But right now, we do not have one, and the young man's doing an excellent job in his car. Dave Blaney, after the disappointing run in Atlanta, tight, but after that, about 20 laps, the car comes in very nicely, and they are very good in the longer part of the run, and they are very happy with Blaney's car right now. Right behind him is John Andretti. They also have a tight condition. I asked Greg Stedman, how's the tire wear on your car? He said it's good compared to others, but it's not that good, honestly. Bill?
Well, Marty, Ricky Rudd continues to get better and better as the laps go along. Now, remember, they spent a lot of time on pit road under the caution to cut off the rear sway bar to try and improve the handling of the car because it was just way too loose. Well, the latest word from Rudd, the car is much better off the turns. Alan?
Little close call there with John Andretti leaning on Mike Wallace. And we saw smoke from Ward Burton's car.
Yeah, he's been smoking for about 3 or 4 laps.
Well, he's going to the garage area now, or to the pit road, and I assume to the garage area because those, when you see a car smoking like that, I don't think they fix themselves.
So the engine problem that Ward thought he had that Tommy said was a vibration, and they thought it fixed itself with a tire change?
Coming down pit road,
exactly.
Just pop the hood, just take a look at everything, and that'll be it.
And that'll be it.
Tough luck for Ward Burton. Marty.
Yeah, let's give the credit to Ward on that one. He called that about 50 laps ago, and this is very disappointing for these guys. They were finishing the season so strong, Alan. They had 6 top 15s in their last 7 races. They had been very consistent. They had moved up to 14th in the points, and this one will certainly hurt them because the battle for the points, even back as far as 14th, 15th, even 25th, like we showed earlier, is very close, and this will surely hurt Ward in the point standings, and it looks like it is a terminal problem for Ward Burton and the Caterpillar team.
Tough luck there on the brighter side when Ward gets home from New Hampshire. Along about Monday or so, expecting to have a baby. Wife Tabitha has been expecting and has been bedridden with that for a few weeks now, but there'll be some good news there in the Burton household the beginning of next week.
And there's Rusty Wallace. And remember how well he ran earlier in the race? Well, 3 cars behind him is the leader, Jeff Gordon, about to put him a lap down. Dave, what's going on with Rusty?
Benny, I just checked with Robin Pemberton, his crew chief, and he said another tire. So obviously everyone is having troubles with the tires, but the way they've set up their car, they have particular problems today.
Rusty restarted 14th. He's back to 29th. And there goes 3rd place with Bobby Labonte by Dale Jarrett. Tony Stewart now clear of the other traffic. He's got 4 seconds to make up if he's going to catch Jeff Gordon for the lead. Now available in stores, NASCAR.com and ShopNBC.com. Full throttle. A lot of the hardcore rock and roll music you've been hearing all season long here on our NASCAR and NBC broadcast.
And Kevin Harvick in the 29 car has gone a lap down. As we see Mark Martin in the 6 car, going by Johnny Benson, trying to drag along Matt Kenseth with him. And Matt loves to be dragged along, especially when we're gaining spots.
That's 3 positions Benson has lost. Robert Presley went by him for 5th. Now Martin for 6th. Kenseth for 7th. JB's back to 8th. Matt Yoakum.
Alan, about 2 laps ago, Johnny Benson came on the radio and told his crew chief, James Ince, I think my right rear tire is blistered. Ince did tell his driver, Benson, to be careful because the temperature is dropping, so it could be the track just changing. He says, no, because I think we've loosened it up way too much, so they're going to ride until their next pit stop.
Depending on what happens.
Here we go.
I was going to say could be a while, but not anymore. Buckshot Jones.
Hard contact. Hard contact in that wall.
You're right, Benny.
Caution number 4. Boy, look at that. Oh, he's trying to start it up. That's a good sign.
Big, boys. What he done right there was very, very big.
Well, sounds like they got turned.
Trying to get it fired.
That's Buckshot.
It's leaking. The radiator's busted and all that.
Yeah, you're done.
Take it to the garage, guys.
So, Buckshot Jones in the wall, turn 4, putting out caution number 4 of this New Hampshire 300. What happened?
Yeah, we see the one car come up on the back of Buckshot, and wow.
Drove right through him.
Yeah. Drove right through him. Right.
Boy. Leaders are in, Matt.
And Sean Parker, the rear changer, who will retire after today as far as a tire changer going over the wall, waiting for his car, Mark Martin. The car is still tight, Mark says. They're going to make a track bar adjustment. Overall, he says the car is pretty decent. A 4-tire change to Bill Weber.
Jeff Gordon radioed in and said the car is great. So it's 4 tires and fuel. They'll rip the tearaway off the windshield. We'll go to Dave.
Bobby Labonte didn't want to make changes that would hurt him in the long run, so they didn't make any changes. 4 tires and fuel for Labonte.
How about that pit stop for Sterling Marlin? They had fallen back to about the 8th or 9th, maybe even 10th position. And did he not come out second?
Yes, he did.
Good stop.
Gordon, Marlin, Stewart, Bobby Labonte, Robert Presley.
And I don't believe he changed 2 tires again, do you?
Well, if he did, that was a great stop.
If he didn't, you're right. He picked up 8 or 9 spots on pit road. Let's go on board. Let's go on board with Steve Park. Kenny Wallace. And we see.
Still outside. You're clear out.
Man, oh man.
You got to spin behind you. Spin behind you. Wave them up. Crash in turn 4.
Spin.
Go low through 4.
Just listen to this as Buckshot gets the wall.
Not a good way to end the season. Oh, and by the way, Sterling Marlin did get just 2 tires on his pit stop. He's second behind Jeff Gordon. Tuesday, stars like Donny Osmond, Kelly Preston, and Coolio test the limits of fear on the first ever Celebrity Fear Factor. Tuesday, 8/7 Central here on NBC.
You want to know fear? Get in front of Benny at the buffet line. That's fear.
All right, Marty.
Well, Ward, turns out you were right, and Baldwin was not a vibration. It was an engine problem, and what a disappointing way to end your season, which has been so consistent here of late.
Yeah, it is. You know, all year, particularly from mid-season to now, if we finish the race, we're going to have a shot at being in top 10, top 5, maybe win the race. Terry and the guys have worked really hard this year. We've had 2 DNFs with the motors, but for the most part, they've come a huge way, and really proud of them guys. The DNFs from the wrecks, guys hitting us a little bit every now and then, that killed us. We're a top 10 team, and we just got to fix our motor program so it runs all day and not have bad luck on the racetrack, and we'll be in the top 10 in points next year. But Terry and them have done an awesome job all year.
I asked him if he was aware of the right front problems out on the racetrack. He said absolutely, and it did play into his mind out there on the racetrack, guys.
All right, Marty, thanks. Ward Burton and Buckshot Jones, the only 2 drivers in the garage. Ward with the engine problem, and Buckshot on the bad end of this one in turn 4. It's the New Hampshire 300, presented by the new film Behind Enemy Lines, NASCAR on NBC. Little holiday weekend matinee for you. 2001 season finale today from the New Hampshire International Speedway. Here's our Napa Field summary. Jeff Gordon has done most of the leading so far, 133 of 149 laps. Gordon has been out in front. Others who've led, Sterling Marlin and Kevin Harvick. 4 caution flags. Michael Waltrip cut a right front tire. We've had 2 competition yellows because of tire problems. And the most recent caution, the Buckshot Jones crash up in turn number 4. Only car officially out of the race is Ward Burton with the engine failure, though Buckshot Jones has been towed off to the garage. What would be his 10th DNF of the season. Did not finish.
Todd Bodine, 12 out of the 35 that we've run so far. Marty, have you caught up with Buckshot?
I have, Benny, and I had to run, so I'm tired. But anyway, Buckshot, that's not a good way to end the season. What happened? Was it a right front?
No, it's not. First, I'd like to say I hated my wife, Gina. You know, I hate it for everybody at Georgia Pacific. No, it wasn't the tire going down. It was the one car putting a bumper to the back of us. I guess he needed a caution, and he got in the back of us. But, you know, things like that happen. You know, I don't know. I hate the way it ended for the, for the end of the season, but that's the end of it.
And that is what we saw from Kenny Wallace's in-car cameras. We get ready to go back to green, Alan.
Marty. Why did you say the right front?
All right,
down?
well, Kenny was about to get lapped by Jeff Gordon. He did when he got tangled up with Buckshot.
Trick question.
Now he's going to try and get that lap back.
Green flag, green flag.
There you see at Williams Race Chase, all the cars with the bubbles are the cars on the lead lap. Cars on the inside, 1 or more laps down.
Jeff Gordon quickly clearing Kenny Wallace, putting himself that 1-car gap back to second place, Sterling Marlin.
And Sterling Marlin, once again, tried right sides only, just 2 tires.
Remember the first few laps of the race, Tony Stewart kept trying to get the nose inside of Marlin.
He's got it way inside now.
Clear behind the 33.
Better hurry, the 18's going to be there.
Close the door. We are just across halfway. You saw the stat there. Leading at halfway has not guaranteed you anything this season.
Majority of the time, it's guaranteed you're going to lose.
Marlin in the 40, Bobby Labonte in the 18. That's for 3rd place. Right behind them, Robert Presley in 5th. He's in the bright yellow car. And the other machine, the black car, there's Kyle Petty, the 45. He is 28th place, 1 lap down. Six of Mark Martin racing Presley for that spot. Of course, Bobby Labonte, winner last Sunday at Atlanta. Didn't look like he was going to win.
No, it sure looked like Jerry Nadeau was going to win when the white flag was thrown. 1 more lap, but Nadeau did not make it back. He ran out of fuel. He made it back, but he was coasting at about 30 miles per hour, and 3 cars passed him.
Here comes Bobby. Well, not quite.
I think it's a matter of time here.
He's looking.
Yeah. Sterling just can't keep it low in the center of the corner. That's where these guys are getting the advantage on it.
No more competition yellow club.
Yeah, that message just came across the NASCAR radio. There will be no more competition yellows. NASCAR telling the teams, you've had enough cautions to fix your car and do what you can with them. You're on your own for the rest of the race. Let's go to Dave Burns.
Alan, Sterling Marlin, before that last round of pit stops, was the tightest his car has been all day, and they took on only 2 tires. I also checked to see what adjustments they made to try to fix that tight situation. They made a track bar adjustment, and hopefully that will help him turn the steering wheel and get the car to turn through the corners.
Well, it's not working right now.
No, it's really, if anything, is pushing as bad as I've seen it all day. Talking about the 40 car when he goes.
You know, you march, drive your line.
When he goes down the corner, just will not stay down. Just go straight to the top of the track. You can keep your car down there on the bottom of the racetrack, but you have to slow down so much to do it. Better off to let it go in the corner at speed and drift up the racetrack a little bit.
Without question, the headline of the day so far, tires. Tires tearing up. Marty.
Well, with Phil Homer from Goodyear, and let's start off with a lot of blistered tires, Phil. Why?
Well, what happened is after the September race was postponed, there was a lot of concern that racing this late in November, there would be not as good a grip on the track with those tires. So we went to something that was softer, and we ended up with a day that was over 50 degrees, which no one expects during this time of year. So we're working our way through it.
Did you see blistering problems this morning in practice, and did you suggest to teams that they scuff tires?
No, we only saw one tire in practice this morning, and that was a camber problem that he had. It had nothing to do with blistering.
So is it feasible at all for you to bring two different sets of tires, let's say this softer compound and maybe a harder compound to the racetrack at the same time, and base your decision off of weather on the day of the race?
And that would really be hard to do, because when we mount tires for these races, a normal race here is 1,800 tires to 1,900. So to do that, it takes 3 days as it is. And I don't think people have enough wheels either, so we have to make our decision and live with it.
Now, there will be no more competition cautions today. A, are you worried? And B, what suggestions will you make to teams to stop the blistering?
The teams, to stop the blistering, we've been recommending finding scuffed tires that they ran before that not blister, and putting them up on the pit to run again, because a heat cycle makes it harder. Otherwise, the blisters have improved, if that can be said. They're a little bit better than before. Some guys who are running up front are having no problem at all now. This is a normal progression during a race when something like this happens.
He said they have seen some teams, as he just said, that have had no problems today, Alan, and the teams that are having problems, he is suggesting using scuffed tires for the rest of the race if they can.
All right, Marty, thanks. Guys?
And one of the guys that has not been having any problems is the guy that's sitting in second place, and that's good to know as a driver that you can run the car as hard as you want. You don't have to take care of the tires, and everybody else does.
I don't think that Bobby Labonte, his teammate, talking about this is Tony Stewart, who hasn't had any tire trouble. I don't think Bobby Labonte's teammate has had any tire trouble so far. We'll have to check down the pits to make sure, but those might be the only two cars that haven't blistered a tire.
Will it play out in deciding who wins this race? Well, it's a good chance it might. We've seen Jeff Gordon have some problems on his car. He's been the dominant man out in the lead, but no more competition yellows. They've got to keep all four tires on that thing till the checkered flag. NASCAR on NBC from the New Hampshire International Speedway. It's the New Hampshire 300 presented by the new film Behind Enemy Lines. 168 laps up, 300 complete. Jeff Gordon continues to be the man out in front. He's led 153 of 168 so far.
And he's getting quicker. Watching his lap times, they get about a little bit faster and faster every lap.
Gordon extending his lead over Tony Stewart to 3.6 seconds, with Bobby Labonte, Sterling Marlin, and Robert Presley rounding out the top.
I mean, really, truly, Wally, you said getting quicker. I can't believe that the 24 car, Jeff Gordon, still running this fast. This morning in practice at 9 o'clock, they were running like 29.50. Jeff Gordon last lap ran 29.52.
Yep, that is got a good balanced car there.
But we've seen his car. We've seen some of the tires that came off his car with some of the blisters in them.
Yeah. And what it feels like when you have like a right rear blister, or even a right front for that matter, it feels like if somebody put 50 or 60 extra pounds in your car tire, you could feel it. The tire gets really hard and really, really slippery. And that's what a blister tire feels like. And when it's on the right rear, let me tell you something, you know when it's blistered.
Now, while we've talked about Gordon having some issues with his tires, let's get an update on Tony Stewart. He's the second place car. Bill, how about him?
Been a great day so far for Tony. In fact, after that last pit stop, he said the car is great. We're simply out here riding right now. So Tony Stewart, who has even underline, has not had any tire problems, having a good run here at Loudon. Dave?
Bill, his teammate Bobby Labonte was reminded by crew chief Jimmy Makar during the caution that we are one race team with 2 cars. This team exemplifies that as good as any team on this circuit. And right now, Bobby does not have very many tire issues at all. Obviously, they work together in the shop. Both cars are worked on by the same mechanics, and so they're set up well so they don't abuse these tires. The only issue that the 18 car of Labonte has had is the right rear has blistered just a little bit today. They've rebalanced that car, and Makar tells me that it's better now.
All of a sudden, the 20 car goes down to turn 3 and just goes straight up the racetrack. Did he get in the corner too hard, or did all of a sudden the right front tire slide across the racetrack? Looks like he's back to speed now.
Wave by. Bobby's faster. Let him go.
Could be. Bobby was catching him pretty quick there. The last 2 or 3 laps, it looked like Bobby was about 1/10.5 to 2/10 of a second lap faster than Tony was.
Well, maybe that's exactly what Tony Stewart decided to look. I'm not going to hold up my teammate. I know I've been told that he's faster. I'll just get out of the way and let him go, because put some pressure on Jeff Gordon.
And that's the best thing that they can do, I think. Instead, I know they're riding, but they're running hard. If they can put the pressure on Jeff, Jeff's going to have to run a little bit harder, and that's going to be harder on his tires.
Spent 32 laps since the last set of pit stops. About 30. When they go back to green, 150. So it's been 25 since they went back to green. So we'll keep an eye on the tire situation and see how things develop. We'll see if Bobby Labonte can close in on Jeff Gordon for the race lead. Coming up on the 2/3, today's New Hampshire 300, presented by the new film Behind Enemy Lines. And Jeff Gordon is the race leader. He's got a lot of traffic around him. Ken Schrader's on pit road. Marty, he's been in quite a bit lately.
And there's a good reason for that, Alan. What they're doing is they're putting on sticker tires. That's what's going on the left side of Ken Schrader's car right now. He'll go out, he'll run about 3 or 4 laps, then he'll come back down pit road and change the tires again. That is scuffing tires, and he's doing it for his teammate, Johnny Benson. If you'll come back to the back of Schrader's pit stall, he's already done about 3 or 4 sets for Benson. In fact, that is set number 4 for Ken Schrader, scuffing tires for his teammate, Johnny Benson, which will help him later in the race. Matt?
And Marty, the reason why Benson is scuffing tires because this team didn't have a chance in the morning practice to scuff any set of tires. This is the right front tire that came off Johnny Benson's car. It looks pretty good. Usually most teams up and down pit road are blistering the right fronts. That looks good. Now the bad news. Remember we told you on the last run, Benson said his tire felt like on the right rear was blistering. You can see all the blisters all over this right rear tire. So Benson did diagnose that tire correctly. So they tightened up this number 10 car with wedge and air pressure, trying to put a little more of the wear from the right rear back to the right front.
All right, Matt, thanks. Johnny running in 13th place on the lead lap. Ken Schrader spent 30-some laps on pit road with the hood up on his car earlier, and that's why he can take the time to scuff the tires for Benson. He's 34 laps down in 39th place.
Now, if I was Steve Neal, I'd be asking that same favor from the 15 car, Michael Waltrip, then. Either for the 1 car, well, the 8 car's 3 laps down. But Kenny Wallace is only 1 lap down at 29th place. So I'd be making a deal there to get some scuffed tires from Michael.
Ricky Rudd, remember we saw in the early laps he had all kinds of handling problems on his car, made extensive adjustments on extended pit stops. Well, he stayed on the lead lap, and now he's picked his way back to the 11th place. He's involved in that close fight for second in points.
Well, that's pretty close.
And again, the big bucks separating those positions at the end of the day. $546,000 between second and fourth. It's important. Yeah. This is 10th place he's going to get from Jeff Burton. That is a rally.
There's more points.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, when Ricky Rudd made that stop and stayed on pit road for so long and restarted the race back in 37th or 38th, I thought he'll be lucky, really lucky to get back in the top 10.
That car in front of him. Be smooth.
And he just passed Burton for the 10th position.
Kevin.
Go ahead. It's just if you're better than the car in front of you, which is his teammate.
Yep.
88 car.
Kevin Harvick started off really well in this race. In fact, he led a lap early. Boy, is he struggling now. 31st place for Harvick. Bill Weber, what's going on with them?
Struggling's a pretty good word, Alan. In fact, there are 2 cars out on the track on Thanksgiving weekend that are going to be giving thanks when this thing is over. And Kevin Harvick is one of them. He was bad loose to start the day, so they unhooked the rear sway bar. They didn't cut it off. They just unhooked it. That's a good thing, because then they went back and hooked it up, and that didn't help. They tried wedge on the right side, wedge on the left side. They lost the lap. They're just not having a very good day. So the 29 car struggling a lap down. Now, there's the 8 car of Dale Earnhardt Jr., another guy who'll be very thankful when this race is over. They've had tire problems. They had some of the chunking that we saw. Earnhardt Jr.'s car wouldn't handle. At one point, he thought something was bent in the front end, that he had a vibration. It turned out just to be the tires. Then finally, they went ahead and on pit road, readjusted the camber, and they're 3 laps down. So the 29 and the 8 not having a great day. Marty?
Well, Bill, Mike Wallace just came on and off pit road running in 34th. Not such a good day for Mike, and not a good day for the crew either. Dwayne Trammell, the rear tire carrier, earlier had the car fall on his foot. He has a possible fractured left foot. He is at the infield care center right now feeling fine, but there's a possible left foot fracture for Dwayne Trammell. Also, you might remember here in July, Derek White, the crewman who was injured when he fell off the top of the transporter. I just talked to one of the team managers. He said, hey, he's doing great now. Back about 95%. Been back at work for about a month now. And the status of this team for next year in 2002, Mike Wallace told me this morning, Tuesday is the magic day. Roger Penske will be at the shop. They'll get the word then. He said he's got some mixed reviews as to whether or not they'll be back in 2002, but the word will definitely come on Tuesday. Alan?
All right.
A few sleepless nights ahead of Mike.
So Mike Wallace resuming the chase. He's back in 37th place now. And he is 3 laps down to race leader Jeff Gordon. 109 laps to go here in New Hampshire. Gordon leading Bobby Labonte by 2.5 seconds. Jeff Gordon leading Bobby Labonte in the New Hampshire 300, presented by the new film Behind Enemy Lines, but his advantage is shrinking.
Yes, it is.
Was 2.5 seconds when we went to the commercial break. It is now 1.5 seconds, mostly because of those 2 lap cars right there.
Watching Jeff going into turn 3 underneath the 66. The 66 of Top Bodine did not give him much room, and Jeff had to practically stop down there, and that really cost him about a half a second right there. Now, Bobby Labonte gets through there clean.
Well, he got by the 66. I'm sorry, the 66 clean, but he had to wait a little bit on the 15. Now he drives up behind. This is going to cost Bobby Labonte some time.
Yes, it is.
Let's check the gap. Start-finish line. It was 1.4 seconds. It's now an even 2.
So we got it back.
Tony Stewart running 3rd. Sterling Marlin right behind him in 4th. Robert Presley is 5th. Robbie Gordon has just moved around Mark Martin to take 6th. Mark back to 7th, and the rest of the top 10 are Dave Blaney, Ricky Rudd, and Matt Kenseth.
There you see the spread between the leader, Jeff Gordon, and Bobby Labonte on a Williams race chase. That time, 2 point, right now, that's as they run on the track, about 2.4 seconds.
Now, let's not forget that Robbie Gordon's got those scuffed right side tires on right now, and he has been moving forward the last 10 laps.
Dale Jarrett's running back in 11th place. He's on the lead lap. Was as high as 2nd a bit ago. And Bill Weber is down in his pit.
Well, Alan, want to remind everybody about the story we told last week of Sean and Tara Parker. Sean, the car chief for Mark Martin on the 6. His wife, Tara, an organ donor recipient, received a new heart in July. Well, today, Dale Jarrett has a small picture taped to the dashboard of his race car. It's a picture of 4-year-old Amber Lynn Vale, and we'll tell you the rest of the story in a moment. Right now, caution on the racetrack.
Bill, thanks. John Andretti has popped the backstretch wall off of turn number 2.
It doesn't look like that the tire is flat.
Might have got a little help, BP.
Oh, really?
Because he was about a third of the way down the backstretch and suddenly got turned into that outside wall with that right front corner.
Actually, he's got damage on the left. Looks like he's got damage on the left front of the nose, which is an interesting place to have it.
That's probably where he made contact with the other car that forced him up into the wall.
Yeah.
5th caution of the race comes out at lap number 200. and much to the relief of a lot of teams because they went back racing 50 laps ago.
So Phil Homer was correct. The tire situation is getting much better.
Here come the leaders. Gordon, Bobby Labonte, Tony Stewart, Sterling Marlin, and then Robert Presley. Marty?
Robbie Gordon running 6th, Allen, and so far Gil Martin gets the Smart Man Award today. The set of tires they are putting on, they brought in the truck from Martinsville, so that is a harder tire than the other teams are using here today. It'll be a 4-tire stop and half a pound out of the right front for Robbie Gordon. A little bit tight. Dave?
Bobby Labonte, half a pound of pressure down on both left sides to help turn the car better through these long corners. Bill?
Jeff Gordon is a little loose on the long runs, but he just told Robbie Loomis he's afraid to make any changes. So it's 4 tires and fuel. Matt?
77 kilometers already completed. Robert Presley called for himself in the cockpit. A 1/4 pound in the right rear, a 1/4 pound out of the right front. 4 tires. He says his car is still a tick tight.
Good job, guys. Good job.
Jeff Gordon off pit road first. Labonte, Stewart, then Robbie Gordon is going to move up to 4th on the exchange of pit stops, followed by Sterling Marlin and Robert Presley. 2/3 of the way through in the season finale for the NASCAR Winston Cup Series. You're watching NASCAR. Still working the cleanup here under the caution flag. Let's check with Marty Snyder.
Well, Alan, let's explain why these tires from Martinsville are a little bit harder for Robbie Gordon, because they sat in the shop for about a month and cured a little bit. They're just a little bit harder than the tires you're using. But, Gil, that seems to be a good move so far. These Martinsville tires a little bit better.
Yeah, I think that we were trying to save Richard a little money, so we brought some old tires with us this week, and it's seeming to pay off for us a little bit. They're getting a little bit of blistering, but not as bad as it has been.
All right, and that is perfectly legal within the rule books, Alan.
Robbie Gordon running in 4th place now behind leader Jeff Gordon. Cleanup continues, so let's take a break. You're watching NASCAR on NBC. We're with 90 laps to go in the New Hampshire 300. Jeff Gordon, Bobby Labonte, and Tony Stewart, the top 3.
You see the bubbles on the 24-18. Those cars are on the lead lap. Cars on the inside headed by the 32 of Ricky Craven. 1 or more laps down.
Big jam up there. Looked like Ricky Craven had trouble getting up off of turn 2, and Dale Jr. had to jam the brakes. Let's mention that on the last lap of caution, Brett Bodine on the lead lap in 20th place came down and topped off the fuel.
And we see him 3 wide going down in turn 1. Oh, Kyle Petty on the outside, barely squeezed in. Jason Leffler, I think, backed off and gave Kyle a break there.
'77, 6:28. Those in that group that are on the lead lap racing for a spot. Presley, Martin, Rudd, also the 93 of Blaney, also in the lead lap. 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th. On the restart off of turn 2, I mentioned the big jam up. Let's take a look from Dale Jr.'s onboard camera.
Still out.
He gets in the back of the 0-1 car. Jason Leffler, which allowed Robbie Gordon, the 31, to drive by, and also Sterling Marlin.
Tell you what, great drive for Robert Presley today. I know we've said it before, but here's a guy looking for a job for next season.
Well, I would guess this is the best way to apply on the racetrack, running in 6th position with less than 90 laps to go.
Yeah, in this business, you're only as good as your last race, so it's nice to have a good finish on the last race of the year.
Just catching a glint of that sun gleam from that camera inside of turn 4. It's never really been an issue here in New Hampshire in the past, but we've never raced this late in the year either. I wonder if that's going to get to be a little trouble down this front stretch at the end of the day. Maybe just coming out of turn 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, the grandstands will probably shade a lot of that.
Hopefully they will. You saw the sun that Alan was talking about. Tell you what, we'll go on board with Jeff Gordon and see how his visibility is as he goes in turn 3. So far. Now as he turns and comes off turn 4, here's the sun that.
Not bad at all.
Not bad at all.
Well, it's not bad with the camera sitting on the roof, but looking through that windshield, you're looking up out of the windshield with more of an angle, so it might be a little bit worse than that shot right there. How about it, Bill?
Well, that looks pretty good, but he might have had a vision problem, but the 2014 was able to fix it. These teams have tearaway plastic covers on their windshield. So during the race, instead of cleaning the windshield, they'll rip that plastic off. Well, the first time Tony Gibson went to rip the plastic off of Jeff Gordon's windshield, it stuck because there was so much glue. He basically couldn't get it off. So he had to like pat it back down and then send him back out. So now what they're doing is they're just cleaning that windshield because all the glue with the sun beating down on it basically won't let the tearaway tear away.
Yeah, you can see that, Bill. I just circled it right there. That glue is stuck to the windshield, and that is hard to clean off. But it's not really in a bad spot for Jeff. He can actually look at a little bit lower to the left out of that windshield.
Certainly compared to what we saw at Atlanta last week, that's nothing.
Yeah.
Bobby Labonte hanging pretty tough. And these guys I talked about are running 29.50 back about 50, 60 laps ago. Last time by, Jeff Gordon ran 29.30. And he can't lead Bobby Labonte. Labonte ran a 40. That time, Gordon ran a 29.42. Bobby Labonte a 29.43.
Bobby Labonte moved to 6th place in points with his win at Atlanta last weekend. He's only 87 points behind Dale Jarrett for 5th place. So he could make quite a little rally here in these final couple of weeks of the season.
And Jarrett is currently back in the 15th position.
And Bill, you were telling us a story about Dale Jarrett when the caution flag came out. Why don't you pick up from there?
Okay, and I'll just update you also on DJ's car. They added a spring rubber to the right rear. That's why he had an extended pit stop and is a little deeper in the running order. 15th last time I looked. But we wanted to tell you the story about the picture, the card that DJ's carrying on his dashboard. On the card is a picture of Amber Lynn Vale. She was a precious 4-year-old from Washington, New Jersey. As early as 6 weeks old, she was diagnosed with health problems. It turned out to be a rare liver disorder. So she was treated, but naturally spent a lot of time in her house. One of her favorite things to do was to watch out the window every morning for the UPS truck to come by. And then it did. She always went running through her house saying, "Mommy, Mommy, it's the big brown truck, the big brown truck." Well, unfortunately, earlier this year, in fact, on June 18th, she lost her battle and passed away. Her mother contacted the people at United Parcel Service and told them about Amber's love of the truck. The people from UPS sent a truck to the funeral home and parked it out front because that's what the mother requested. They also gave her a small UPS truck and a small UPS teddy bear that the family took and put in the coffin and buried with Amber Lynn Vale. Her mother said it's one of the sweetest things they've ever seen done because her daughter got a tremendous amount of joy of seeing that truck drive through her neighborhood. But there's more to the story. Amber Lynn Vale was an organ donor. Her 4-year-old heart was removed and placed in a 2-year-old in Cleveland, Ohio. And also, both of her kidneys went to 2 other recipients. So at 4 years old, she leaves a long legacy as an organ donor. And perhaps her last wishes were granted to her and her family. Today, Dale Jarrett salutes her memory and her organ donorship in his race car by carrying her picture and her thoughts.
Then Lambert delivered life to somebody else.
It's a good story, Bill. Pretty big. There you saw the picture inside the car you talked about just a moment ago, and it is worse. The sun, a little bit worse from inside the car than that camera on top of the roof.
So Dale Jarrett running back in 15th place after the extended stop to make the adjustments on the last caution flag. He's got a lot of ground to make up if he's going to have a good finish and be in that fight for those top point positions. Jeff Gordon trying to move away from Bobby Labonte. 0.8 of a second is the advantage now. 75 laps to go in New Hampshire. $70 laps to go here in the New Hampshire 300. Jeff Gordon has absolutely dominated this race. He's led 215 of the 232 laps so far. Third place has changed hands.
You see the 31 car of Robbie Gordon has gone by Tony Stewart and taken that spot away. And Ricky Craven up now all of a sudden the 32 car has gone, this is what, a lap or two down, 2 laps down. He just drives by the 20 car of Tony Stewart. Now he's going by Robbie Gordon, but I think Gordon is still up to speed, isn't he, Marty?
He is still up to speed, Benny, and he's very happy with the set of tires. It took a while for him to come in, but when it did, they came on very quickly and very fast. Robbie Gordon very good on the track, better on the longer runs, passed Tony Stewart very easily, and they could go all the way if they needed to on fuel. But Gil Martin told me I don't think that's going to be a factor.
It's pretty big.
Bill.
And Tony Stewart, who's had a fine handling car and no problems today, is still running all right, just a tick loose at this point. So that's contributing to his minor problems on the racetrack.
It's a pretty big bounce back for Robbie Gordon in that 31 car after not qualifying at Atlanta last weekend.
Yes, sir. I mean, that could destroy a team, but you also can use it as motivation to go out and the next time and do well. And it's like with Robbie Gordon, the team has chosen to use that as a motivational tool to make them better.
I want to go back to follow up on what Marty said there a minute ago about going all the way. They stopped with 99 laps to go, went back green with 90 laps to go. Tire, we heard Phil Homer from Goodyear say, and we seem to be hearing from the teams too, the tire issue is getting better as the race goes on. So, we're going to see anybody try it.
Well, maybe, Alan. I think maybe one of the reasons are, so you see Jerry Nadeau go by the 17 of Matt Kenseth. We heard earlier that we were told that the track temperature was up in the 70s, and now it's dropped down into the 50s, and the way these shadows are getting on the racetrack, that track temperature is going to come down. That's good news for tires. That's what these tires need right now, is a cooler racetrack so they won't blister so much. So you may see some guys trying to go that distance.
And again, the key number not shown there is the fact that the track temperature in the peak of the afternoon sun got up to 70 degrees.
Right.
How about old Nadeau?
Great run for Jerry Nadeau. He goes by the 17 of Matt Kenseth and is trying to get by Mark Martin. This is the battle for the 9th spot. Oh, yeah, just drive up on the inside.
And by. And here comes Kenseth. Nadeau started 41st. Came within a half a lap of winning at Atlanta last weekend. Came up about a quart shy on fuel after leading 41 laps. Today he started 23rd. And as BP said, he just took 9th spot away from Mark Martin. 63 laps to go in the New Hampshire 300 from the New Hampshire International Speedway. After the September 11th tragedies when this race was postponed to this weekend, we heard all kinds of maybe we'll be racing on snow reports. Boy, that sure hasn't turned out to be the case.
Just a gorgeous day here in New Hampshire. As a matter of fact, that we've talked over and over, it's almost a little too warm for the setup that Goodyear brought here. Talking about the tires are just a little bit too soft for a 50-degree day.
Nadeau continuing his romp forward.
Moves to 8th position.
By Robert Presley. Tell you who else is moving. Just past that 77 car, just past the 10 of Benson, and that's Dave Blaney in the 93.
Dave Blaney has moved into the 6th position,
which would equal his Winston Cup career best finish if he's able to post a number there. You know what Dave says he's going to do in the offseason? He's going to get waist deep in mud.
And his new racetrack?
His new dirt track that he bought out by the Pennsylvania-Ohio line.
And Ricky Rudd, this is an early pit stop, but he has been struggling on this last set of tires. So Bill Weber's decided to come down pit road.
For the exact reason that you just stated, Benny, Ricky was never happy with this set of tires from the time he rolled out of his pit stall. Just couldn't go any further on them, so he's going to have to pit here under green. Hope that the race stays green the rest of the way. They had worked so hard to fight their way back to the front. They've gotten as far as 8th, now falling back through the field, now pitting under the green. 4 tires and enough fuel to get to the finish. Almost everybody else has to stop. The question is whether or not they'll take 2 or 4 tires. You will see some teams gamble down the stretch here.
And just remember that Brett Bodine topped off his fuel tank on that last lap of caution, so he may be able to go the distance. He's in 15th right now, but everybody else, 99 laps on fuel here, that's asking too much. And by the way, good news that Bobby Burrell, the tire changer from this car that was injured in that accident at Homestead, was released completely from the hospital on Monday of this week to continue his rehab from home. And our best wishes to Bobby on a speedy recovery.
Jeff Gordon comes off turn 2. Bobby Labonte comes off turn 2. Labonte, the last time by, was 1.5 seconds behind Jeff Gordon.
And that's up from what it had been. 97 car Kurt Busch, 18th place, last one on the lead lap. Not anymore. Goodbye. Jeff Gordon has an absolutely phenomenal record here at New Hampshire in the last 8 straight races here. He's finished 6th or better, including 2nd in July when he led 126 of the 300 laps after winning the pole in qualifying. You'd like to have a record like that here, wouldn't you?
Yes, I would.
You'd like to have a record like that anywhere.
I do at the Talladega go-kart track. I'm
Yes. There you go. Matt Kenseth taking 9th from Robert Presley. Robert's starting to fall back. Bet we see him on pit road shortly. We'll come back to New Hampshire in a minute. 46 laps to go in the New Hampshire 300, presented by the new film Behind Enemy Lines. Sun beginning to set lower and lower in the west. Temperatures cooling off here at this mile racetrack as we look down on the speedway courtesy of the United States Army, an army of one. Jeff Gordon, the leader, had a very close call a minute ago.
This was big. As we see there's Jeff Gordon following the 28 car. Here the 24 comes off the corner. Elliott Sadler's going to make a pit stop. And Jeff almost ran in the back of him. Look how slow he's going as Rudd blows by him down the front straightaway.
That was about as close as you could get without hitting somebody. Here you see him run up. Whoa, way out of the gas, on the brakes. And that really let the 18 car close up and everybody else for that matter.
Bobby Labonte was 2 seconds down. He's now 7/10, make it 0.8 of a second down, so he chopped half of Gordon's lead. Bill.
Well, Kevin Harvick on pit road, significantly off the pace of the leader, but 4 tires and fuel here. Disappointing end to what's been a spectacular season for the Winston Cup rookie.
Mark Martin's in.
And my guess is this week that Matt.
And the 6th car, Mark Martin is in. He felt like he'd burned off the right front tire. It was so tight. As they put the left side tires on, they make an air pressure adjustment, and he's down and away.
Here's Harvick on those fresh tires, going to try and get one of his laps back from Gordon.
And I started to say just a moment ago, there's no doubt in my mind that this week they will announce that Kevin Harvick was the Rebestos Rookie of the Year for 2001.
Going to have a lead change here.
Bobby Labonte's right there.
Harvick opened the door. Here comes Bobby.
And he's got it. And right behind them is the 31 car of Robbie Gordon.
First time all day Bobby Labonte has led.
And now it comes down to green flag pit stops and who can beat who out of the pits. Dave Burns.
It's been a long day for Rusty Wallace. He comes onto pit road right now. The problem for him at the moment is that he's good down in 3 and 4 where the sun's out. He's bad in 1 and 2 where there's shade. So they're going to make an adjustment with the chassis. The wrench went in. He's tight down in 1 and 2. They hope that fixes it. 4 tires of fuel for Rusty.
got damage on the left front nose of that 2-car Rusty Wallace, which is probably a little bit why he's so tight.
99 car Jeff Burton is just on pit road for a green flag stop. He is 2 laps down to the leaders. Dave?
And Alan, that was about lap 250. It was pushing like a truck, according to Jeff himself. They had taken a rubber out of the right rear, which hurt it bad, and they made a track bar adjustment to try to correct the situation this time.
It looks like right now that Robbie Gordon is faster than these 2 cars in front of him, than both Jeff Gordon and Bobby Labonte.
Best ever oval track finish for Robbie Gordon. 7th at Phoenix. A few weeks back. I think Bobby's car likes leading.
Those old Martinsville tires are doing the trick.
You get that Jeff Gordon nose stuck underneath Labonte's back bumper. It doesn't look like his car likes that.
No, I can guarantee it doesn't. Taking the air off the rear of Bobby's car. He slipped up there, and Jeff's going to try to get a run down the backstretch, and he'll have it. See if Robbie Gordon can follow through.
He's right there. Here comes Gordon.
Outside clear. All clear.
Goes into 2nd spot. How about that run by Robbie Gordon? Started 31st in that 31 car.
Robbie did not run the Homestead race. He was off doing the Baja 1000. Did not qualify at Atlanta last week. I guess he's had a little pent-up driving aggression here. Dale Jarrett's in. Bill Weber.
And Alan Hope creep down pit road. Car hasn't been as good as they had hoped. Not much from DJ since their last pit stop when they put that spring rubber in the right rear. But they will pit here. Should be a 4-tire stop for the 8018 around to the right side. They'll have plenty of fuel to get to the finish. But his car is not handled as well as they had hoped. They only take 2 tires, in fact. Just 2 tires, and that's what we were talking about earlier. Some guys are going to gamble and just take 2 in this last round of green flag stops.
You're almost forced to, aren't you?
Right now, you really are, because Jeff Gordon, Robbie Gordon, Bobby Labonte, you're the guy that if this thing goes green the rest of the way and one of these guys chooses to change 2, the other 2 changes 4, the 2-tire change will win.
Robert Presley is on the pit road. Matt Yoakum.
The last time Robert Presley won a Busch race was right here in New Hampshire in 1993. He told me this morning he hopes in his last start with the 70-17 he can pick up his first Winston Cup career win and make a major wedge adjustment on the 77. He says his car was very tight. 4 tires as baby fatback Matt McSwain puts the lugs on the left rear on loan. Corporate teammates from the Penske boys on loan from the 02 here to the 77 today.
Jeff Gordon has led 247 of 267 laps so far today. I'd say that if he's been being conservative for the last month or so trying to lock this championship up, leading that many laps today, that's gone out the window.
As I said earlier, he has nothing to lose today. This is his first race of 2002. The rest of these guys still got another race to run. He didn't.
So when do you stop? If you're Gordon, you probably want to stay out there as long as you can in case the caution comes out.
I guess it goes as long as the car is running a good speed. If it starts slowing down, then he'll hit pit road.
Yeah, you're right, Ben. If the car feels good to Jeff, he doesn't want to come in right now. If the car is comfortable, he wants to stay out there as long as he can, like you say. Because if a yellow comes out, boy, you put a lot of cars a lap down.
Right now, we've got 9 cars on the lead lap because of those who've stopped already.
'26 car, Jimmy Spencer stopped for pit stop, took 2 tires. The 93 car, Blaney, is on pit road. SC 2 or 4. They're changing 4 on Blaney's car.
That was the 8th place car when he came in.
And now with 30 laps to go, Blaney can run, I think, just about as hard as he wants to on the tires, and they're not going to give any kind of problem.
But he's got to hope no caution flag. Jeff and Robbie Gordon, Bobby Labonte, Tony Stewart, and Jerry Nadeau are the top 5. Then you've got Sterling Marlin, Matt Kenseth, and Brett Bodine now as the 8 on the lead lap. Caution. Caution's out.
Well, there we go.
Ricky Craven, turn 3.
Right, Ricky. 10-4, right front.
There you heard it, right front tire.
There goes Rusty Wallace trying to get a lap back, and he will.
Let's see who else. Jeff Burton needs to try and get a lap back. Robbie Gordon's kind of blocking him in. Didn't happen.
We'll put 4 tires on there, buddy.
Robbie Loomis telling Jeff Gordon 4 tires.
And you're Jeff Gordon. You weren't going to. Your gentleman's agreement there. You weren't slowing down to let anybody back on the lead lap if you could help it.
No, not at this stage of the game.
Well, what was going to happen is Robbie Gordon was going to take over the lead.
Yep.
If he had slowed down at all for Jeff Burton.
Going 4, Ben.
What's that about?
I have no idea.
Who is that behind me hitting me?
That would be Robbie Gordon.
Did he hit him?
Yeah.
He's on the lead lap, right? Yeah, he's on the lead lap. He's running second. Picture open, right?
Crucial pit stop. Marty.
Right side.
Robbie Gordon running second, said I got tight at the end of that run, but Jeff Gordon was getting tight also. They'll take a half pound out of the right front tire for Robbie, but he was very, very good. Just a little bit tight at the end of the run, going for his best ever finish, maybe his first ever win. Dave Burns.
Bobby Labonte was loose in the shades of turns 1 and 2, but he decided not to make any changes. Just 4 tires and fuel. He will take 4 in the 18 car. Bill?
Oh, just maybe a tick tight for the 24, but so far things going smoothly. A 4-tire stop, obviously enough fuel to get to the finish. This team wants to take their championship home with a win.
Oh, and he loses some spots. Matt Yoakum.
Good call on 4 there, buddy. Good call.
Benny, the 17 car, took on only right side tires. A big debate down here in the DeWalt pit. Robbie Reiser first wanted to do 4, Robbie wanted to do 2, and then finally Matt said 2, and that's what they went with, 2 tires. Just some air pressure adjustments, but both right side tires that came off that 17 car had blistered tires.
Sterling Marlin and Matt Kenseth getting just 2 tires, and let's check that scoring line at pit exit.
And we can see Robbie Gordon, the 31 car, is the man. He beats Jeff Gordon out. But did you see that stop that Gordon's crew pulled off? A 13.6 second pit stop, 4 tires. Good job, guys.
Gordon has led 254 of 274 laps today, but he's not out in front now, and there are just 27 laps to go. Sterling Marlin leads. Robbie Gordon, Matt Kenseth, Jeff Gordon, and Bobby Labonte. Then Tony Stewart, Jerry Nadeau, and Brett Bodine make up the top 8. Looks like we're setting up for a little scramble to the checkered flag. Caution out for Ricky Craven, crashing up in turn 3. Marty's with him now.
And it's not the way the hometown guy wanted to finish up. Ricky, what happened?
We blew a right front, and, you know, we flirted with that all day. The Tide Ford had some muscle, but I couldn't use it. Every time I got aggressive with the car, we'd kill the right front, and, of course, we had a short stop. That last time, we just let it go, and we just ran, and we could stay with the leaders, but with the right front. And not, like you said, not the way we wanted to end the year. But, you know, it's been a fantastic year, and I'm really thankful that Tide chose me to drive this car, and Cal gave me the opportunity, and it's a group I'm going to be with for a while.
All right, go have some lobster and enjoy the holiday. All right, that will make it 4 DNFs in his last 5 races here. Alan?
Tough for Ricky Craven. Here's our pit summary.
And we still don't see the leader. Now, the top 5 going into the pits, the leader isn't there.
There he is.
Ah, there he is. Go back to 6th place. The 4 comes out in front.
So what we've got is we've got 8 cars on the lead lap and another 4 on the tail end of 1 lap down. Now, the first car behind the pace car, first 1, 2, 3 cars behind the pace car are all laps down. 93 of Dave Blaney was one of the leaders who made a pit stop. Then the caution came out. Same for the 88 of Dale Jarrett. Same for the yellow Jasper car of Robert Presley. Same for Mark Martin. Those 4 are, in essence, a full mile behind leader Sterling Marlin.
And that's going to cause a big old mix-up when they throw this green flag to restart the race. You've got slow cars, medium speed cars, and fast cars all mixed together. And that's the first time we've seen that today.
And then some of the fast cars just on 2 tires.
Yep.
Sterling and Matt Kenseth.
I think they're the medium fast cars.
Medium fast?
Yeah.
Is that anything like a medium rare steak? Only half done?
Well, we're going to find out how this thing shakes out in pretty doggone quick.
Sun is setting, track temperature's cooler, going to be harder to get a hold of on this restart. Plus the guys on the older tires. Oh boy.
And not many laps left.
Yep. And so much on the line. We've talked about the money gaps. And one last checkered flag. See the 40 car back in the field. That is the leader. That's Sterling Marlin. And he is in charge of this race right now.
You ready? Pace cars away. Green flag, green flag.
Laps to go when they come back to the stripe. Not a lot of time for Jeff Gordon to get back to the front. Especially in all that traffic.
The sun's pretty bright, but it's about another 5 minutes. It should be down low enough.
And Robbie Gordon's trying to get on the inside of Sterling Marlin. I don't really know if he wants to get down there or not, but meanwhile, contact between those 2.
For the lead, 31 and 40. Here comes Gordon, the other Gordon. New leader's Robbie Gordon.
And Jeff Gordon moves into second. Oh, Sterling got high off the burner. We see Robbie Gordon trying to get on the inside of Kyle Petty. He's there. Could not quite make the pass.
Robbie makes one wrong move here. Jeff is going to be there.
Oh, there it is.
And there's the wrong move.
Went to the inside, and Kyle Petty took that inside lane away. Jeff Gordon back out in front. Kyle do anything wrong there?
No. Kyle was just trying to get out of the way, and Robbie had committed himself to pass him down low. It's just bad timing.
So Jeff Gordon quickly moving away from Robbie Gordon by a couple of car lengths, but look at that traffic he's got to deal with. Sort of the same thing applies. One wrong move.
Yes.
Yeah. And Robbie Gordon, look at him just close up on the back bumper of Jeff Gordon.
Robert Presley is on the last.
Over. I don't know what you're talking about. Let's go, bud.
Robert Presley in that 77 is the last car on the lead lap. He's in 12th place.
And Jeff Gordon knows he cannot pass him on the outside. If he leaves that bottom open, Robbie Gordon will dive up and take that spot away. And again, these two Gordons are no relation. There is no relationship between these two.
Leaning on each other in the back. Matt Kenseth in the 17, 25 of Nadu. That's for 6th place. But let's keep an eye on this.
Oh, Robbie
Contact!
Gordon got into the back of Jeff Gordon.
Caution is out. Mike Wallace gets spun around.
And Jeff Gordon has damage to the right front fender. He's got damage to the car and lost about 3 or 4 spots.
6th caution of the race.
I don't think Jeff is going to be very happy about that.
Well, let's see. Nope. Oh, there we go.
He just knew that was coming.
And now the 24 is going to be black flagged.
Well, you can't blame Jeff for being mad about that.
Well, this is not the way he wanted to end his championship season. Now he's going to be in the penalty box.
The radiator, guys, but
Did he punch the radiator out of it when he went up there and hit him? Is that what he just said?
Well, he's talking about...
Black flag, boy, buddy, you gotta come in. He's ahead right there. I'll just take him out right now. Black flag, you're gonna have to come in.
That's it.
Go over pit road, I'm coming, buddy.
He's a little hot.
Yeah, he's a little hot.
Let's go, 4 tires. Listen, now there's only about 12 cars, something like that on the lead lap.
Yeah.
Do some of this thing. 4 tires, guys.
Well, let's go back and take a look at this.
The radiators, all right, water's 250.
Let's go back and take a look at this little sequence here.
I mean, the picture says say it all right there.
But you see, I'm not too sure that Jeff Gordon didn't get in back of the 12 car.
Yeah, but I was watching it when it was happening. Jeff had checked up because the 12 car was going slower. See if
let's
we got a
watch
good
this.
shot here. See.
Oh, no, you're right.
You know,
You're
I
right.
watched this happen. Jeff just slowed down to take his time, and the 31 just ran over.
I got you.
Clear low. Coming inside. Coming inside.
And here we see Jeff drive up and let Robbie know how he felt about it, and I don't blame him.
Now he pulls up beside him to really let him know.
Because Jeff Gordon's one of the cleanest guys out there if you're going to race with, and that's really a shame.
Tape off the bottom. Off the bottom.
Bill?
Well, he's here on pit road. He's getting 4 tires. They want all the tape taken off the grill. Temperature's up to 250. They'll be able to limp around here at the end. I'll have to sit here for 1 lap to heed the black flag as they get the 1-to-go signal. So, not very happy here in the Jeff Gordon camp. Let's check in on the Robbie Gordon situation, Marty.
And meanwhile, down here, Bill, Robbie Gordon says that when Jeff Gordon got on the brakes, he did get into him just a little bit, though, and that probably was enough to send him around. Richard Childress also told him that is behind us now. Let's focus on the race. Be patient here at the end and be smart. You can win this thing, and you'll get the big prize.
1 to go here, Robbie. Make sure your tires are clean. Got him inside.
Back at the drivers' meeting, remember we told you at the top of the show, Bill Weber reported that Mike Helton issued instructions to those racing for those top positions in points that if they took somebody out,
Good restart.
they would get parked as well. A little different situation here,
Yeah.
but Jeff Gordon being penalized for his retaliation on Robbie Gordon. And so he's now 1 lap down. He will finish no better than 13th. There are only 4 cars 1 lap down. Make that 5 cars 1 lap down.
Let's go on board with Jeff Gordon when he runs in the back of the 31 car. Watch this. To take that.
Pace car driver just trying to stay out of the way.
He knew he was coming.
Yeah. All right, going to have 11 laps to go. Robbie Gordon, Sterling Marlin, Bobby Labonte, Tony Stewart, and Matt Kenseth now the top 5. Now what's going to happen?
Green flag, green flag. Go, go, go.
And Robbie Gordon got a huge jump because he gets to the bottom of the racetrack in front of these cars and leaves these lap cars to slow the 40 car Sterling Marlin down. Unless these lap cars come up there and start trying to pass Robbie Gordon. Here comes Matt Kenseth trying to drive on the inside of Tony Stewart. And he's there.
Go outside.
And there's a 25 car. Jerry Nadeau trying to follow him.
Fourth place.
25 car with you.
Mike Kalanoff, Matt Kenseth's spotter.
Tony's not in a good spot right now. He really needs to get down to that bottom lane.
So Kenseth is through. Here comes Nadeau. Things are not going well for Tony Stewart here in these final laps. Stewart going to jump on his airplane and fly off to Las Vegas tonight to race in a midget race tomorrow night. Robbie Gordon is loving what he's seeing in his rearview mirror because he's got 2 lap cars between himself and second place Sterling Marlin.
And now what Robbie Gordon doesn't want to see is a caution flag, which will allow those cars to get back up on his back bumper. He wants to see green the rest of the way.
And by the way, Jeff Gordon is the last car 1 lap down. He's in 16th place after leading 257 of 300 laps. Tony Stewart losing those positions. Remember, he's locked in that very tight fight for second in the final championship standings. Sterling Marlin is running second in the race. Tony Stewart is running 5th. He can't afford to lose too many more positions.
And you see Sterling Marlin right now is only 17 points behind Tony Stewart.
Stewart hanging on to that spot over Nadeau for now. Next car in line behind them will be Dave Blaney in the 93. How about Brett Bodine? He's back in that group also. 8th place for the 11 car.
Yeah, he was one of those cars that, you know, we came in and took gas, and he stayed out as late as possible, and he was with that group that got to put a lot of cars down a lap.
How about 7th for him? He's going to go by Blaney there.
There you go. Good run for Brett.
Great run for him. Brett says his team is only about 25 to 30% funded for next year.
Yikes! No, he lost a spot to the 77 car. These guys are battling for position.
Well, that ain't going to work.
Man, oh man.
Dave Blaney slipping back, Marty.
And Alan, it takes a while for Dave's car to come in. Remember we said that earlier, about 30 laps into a run, his car gets really fast. Problem is, there's a short run to finish this race since the last pit stop. So Dave doesn't have the luxury of that long run for his car to get better. But when he's on the long run, not going to matter now, he's about the fastest car on the track.
Kenny Wallace in the 1, Dale Jr. in the 8.
Oh, poor Dave Blaney. Everybody's running into his door.
Now they're 3 wide. The 8 and the 1 are battling for position. Oh, man.
So Blaney back to 11th, and he's now the last car on the lead lap.
Clear low.
Robbie Gordon started the season in the 4 car, the Kodak machine. Things didn't work out there. And after the first 5 races of the season, basically was fired from that machine. When Mike Skinner got hurt, he got picked up to drive his car in a few races. Remember the Watkins Glen race? Robbie putting all his effort into that race, trying to score a Winston Cup win on a road course, considered his specialty. The telemetry box used for the onboard readouts that were able to bring you had its malfunction, took Robbie out of a chance to win that day. Now he's 1 mile from his first potential NASCAR Winston Cup Series win. 32 years old, his 62nd Winston Cup start. Who'd have thought that his first win would come on an oval track instead of a road course? Jeff Gordon dominated, but it's Robbie Gordon who's going to score the victory. 5th first-time winner in Winston Cup competition this year. Marty?
And in this mass of people, Alan, are tears in Gil Martin's eyes as he runs to cheer on his driver. Gil, I tell you what a great call by you to bring those old tires, and what a great drive by Robbie.
God, I can't believe this right here. This team has waited for this for 5 years, and this is, Lowe's has been with them that long, and this is the 5th, you know, they're leaving. I can't even hardly talk. I mean, I'm so happy for Richard and Robbie and this whole team right here and everything that everybody's been through. Lowe's, Snap-on, Goodyear. Goodyear, they had a great tire today. We just had to know which one to bring.
Good point. And this is a great way to send these guys off to the off-season, as they will all be together next year in 2002.
19th different winner this season. And the final checkered flag of 2001 belongs to Robbie Gordon. He's put Richard Childress's 31 Chevy in victory lane in the New Hampshire 300. We'll hear from the winner and the other top finishers when we come back.
Welcome back to the New Hampshire International Speedway, and a strange end to the race. Robbie Gordon sitting in victory lane. Jeff Gordon back in the garage with a 15th place finish. I'm sure it's hard to put on a smile face right now, but was the contact from the 31 what spun you out?
Oh, absolutely. There's no doubt in my mind. But see, everybody thought you couldn't make me mad. You can make me mad.
I can.
Everybody. You know, anybody really, but that 31 certainly did today. He should be embarrassed right now to win that race. It was going to be a heck of a battle. I mean, it was between me and him anyway, you know, and I just wish it would have been done fair and square instead of just knocking a guy out of the way. And we had some lap traffic to go through, and you got to be patient. I don't care if there's 15 laps to go. You got to know how to be patient. You know, it just didn't happen that way. But I'm just so proud of these guys this year. It's been a blessing to be involved with this great race team, and you know, what an effort that was today. I think we showed them, you know, that we weren't just going to come up here to New Hampshire and walk away. We wanted to come up here, show them what we're made of, and that was just an awesome effort. Just a shame.
Any regrets on the retaliation?
I was mad. You know, I mean, at the time, hey, I understand why guys do that kind of stuff. I just wish I would have taken his, you know, tire down or something. At least though he wouldn't have won the race. I mean, I just didn't do a very good job of it. But you know, it's not what you want to do. It's not sportsmanlike, I know. But hey, man, I didn't think it was sportsmanlike what he did to me, and they didn't penalize him. So.
All right, Jeff Gordon, obviously with a smile on his face, but still a little disgusted with his 15th place finish. Alan?
Said it with a smile, but that's probably some of the strongest language we've heard out of Jeff Gordon. I wish I'd got his tire. Well, Robbie Gordon has parked his Monte Carlo in victory lane. And Chevy congratulates Robbie and the number 31 team on their victory today. And Robbie will tell you the only thing better than Monte Carlo's performance on the track is its performance off. Chevy. More champions depend on Chevy will be there. Bill Weber.
You think I'm going in there? No way. I'll wait till that settles down, but it's an emotional win. Robbie Gordon is thrilled. Richard Childress was here. High fives and handshakes all around. Congratulations. Tell me about the run-in with Jeff Gordon.
Well, I think Jeff obviously slowed down because the 12 got sideways, and I got into him. You know, I wouldn't wreck him to win unless it was the last lap, and you know, I thought we were going to have a good enough car. He got sideways. You know, when I got to him, and a little disappointed that I would have rather raced him clean.
He feels that maybe you weren't patient enough down the stretch there, Robbie, that you guys would have had a good battle for the win.
We would have had a good battle, and it would have been great for the fans. You know, it's just amazing how many of these fans came out here to watch us race on Easter week or on Thanksgiving weekend. It's just it's unbelievable. Really, I want to thank Richard Childress, all the guys for believing in me, giving me the opportunity. It's been a long time since I won a race, and to do it at a somewhat of a short track in a Winston Cup car, I'm really happy.
I know you're thrilled. You've worked so hard to get here, but there are tough questions. Jeff Gordon said perhaps you should be embarrassed that you won this race in this fashion.
I remember Jeff Gordon wrecking someone to win a race before, so I'm not embarrassed. I'm very proud to be driving the Lowe's car, and I can't wait to be driving this singular car next year.
Robbie, a lot of people thought it might come on a road course, but it did come on an oval. You worked so hard to get here. You lost a ride at the beginning of the season. Some people weren't sure you'd be back in here. You tried to put together your own effort, but you hung with Richard Childress, and you did get to victory.
Yeah, I just put my head down when I lost that opportunity at the beginning of the year and just worked really hard and, you know, tried to convince Richard Childress and believing in me. And he just did a great job. You know, it's unbelievable. Hey, you know, I gotta give a lot of credit to Gil Martin and everybody here, Royce McGee, everybody that helped this, and I even want to say hi to Ford, Gil's son.
When you had the problem with the telemetry box at Watkins Glen, do you think maybe you'd lost your only shot at a Winston Cup win?
Well, I mean, we came really close to winning, you know, at Sears Point, and you know, and I got run into there, so you know, and ended up slipping back to second place. So I'm just really excited to get this opportunity. I'm really proud to have the Richard Childress ride going into 2002, and you know, this is going to be a great winter. We're going to be able to build from it. We're going to work on it. You know, we think we know where our weakness was last weekend. We failed to qualify, so to come back and win the very next weekend is a compliment to this race team.
Will you try and talk to Jeff tonight?
You know, if Jeff wants to talk to me, you know, like I said, I'm not too worried about it. I've seen him wreck somebody at Bristol to win a race. So, you know, this is racing, and I'm really excited and proud to have the opportunity.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Robbie Gordon celebrates in Victory Lane his first Winston Cup win. Hang on, you got one more?
Yeah, Richard Childress and myself, we're going to donate all the winnings to the Fireman's Fund of New York. You know, for those guys, we would only be racing on this weekend because of that disaster, and it's just a huge tragedy. We'll give that all to the kids.
Well said. Thanks. You. Alan?
Robbie Gordon, first NASCAR Winston Cup win today here in New Hampshire. Talked about that all of the top 10 spots except #1 were potentially up for change today. Well, only a couple of them did. Ricky Rudd, boy, it's been a tough couple of weeks. From 2nd to 4th in the last few weeks of the season, Tony Stewart and Marlin claiming 2nd and 3rd. We'll be back after this. Welcome to the Autotrader.com post-race show, continuing coverage of today's New Hampshire 300, presented by the new film Behind Enemy Lines, won by Robbie Gordon in somewhat controversial fashion when he and Jeff Gordon got together with 15 laps to go. Top 10? Gordon's not among that, despite the fact that he led 257 laps today. He wound up in 15th place, 1 lap down, penalized by NASCAR for his retaliation on Robbie Gordon. Let's go back to Bill Weber.
In Victory Lane with car owner Richard Childress. First of all, congratulations. They said you were crazy for hiring that Gordon guy.
Yeah, a lot of people question it, but you know, I've worked him, I've worked with him. I just know what's there if we can work on it. And Robbie's got a tremendous amount of talent, and I think he showed it today, and it's setting a road course.
Talk about the run-in between the two Gordons, Richard. You watched it.
Well, you know, it looked like Jeff checked up a little bit when the 12 was spinning in front of him, and Robbie got into him just a little bit. And I was just trying to keep Robbie calm on there to make sure he didn't knock his fenders in, you know, with Jeff, you know, when Jeff came up to retaliate a little bit there. And I know Jeff, you know, neither one would wreck each other to win.
Obviously, it's been an emotional roller coaster for you all year. This is a tremendous way to cap it off.
It is, you know, and for Lowe's, I got to say something great about them. It's a great company, and I'm just sorry we're leaving, but they're a great company, and they stuck with us. And this one's for, you know, for them for sticking with us for 5 years.
And for the guys on this 31 crew, Richard, that have worked so hard with Mike Skinner and now with Robbie to get this car to Victory Lane for you.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a never give up bunch of guys. And, you know, next year we'll be with Singular Wireless, and we're looking to win some races with them, too.
Can you walk away from this season, Richard, and smile?
No, I still got an emptiness.
We all do. Thank you. Richard Childress in Victory Lane with his new driver, Robbie Gordon. Alan?
All right, Bill, thanks. I think it'll be a long time before that emptiness leaves RC2.
There's no doubt.
Let's hear from some more of the top finishers in today's race. Sterling Marlin finished 2nd. We talked with him a few moments ago.
Sterling Marlin had a good day, but not a great day. You come home 2nd. How tight was that race car?
It was real tight early, and we just, you know, on the start, we just couldn't get the grip, and thought I could hold them off the end. Robbie had all fast car, and Jeff too, but our car would slide around a lot on new tires, and we too tired it, slid around, and we just too tight at the end. It was really tied off, so didn't want to mess with it too much. Messed up. That's the best I've run here in New Hampshire in a long time, but I'd like to thank all the guys on the race team. They've done a great job all year. Thank Coors Light for being with us, Target, and Chip and Felix for giving us some good race cars.
And unofficially, you come home 3rd in the point standings. That's pretty good.
Yeah, I had a eye on it, and you know, we knew what we had to do. I think Tony was 40 ahead and Rudd was 16, and you know, just race hard, and the points take care of themselves. And the guys done a great job last week, run second this week, so we'll get going for next year.
Sterling Marlin looking to get a head start on his dream of a Winston Cup championship. He finishes here in New Hampshire in the second position.
Been a good season for Sterling, been the Dodge standard bearer all throughout this 2001 campaign. Certainly one of his better seasons of Winston Cup competition. Bobby Labonte's 2001 title defense ended today with a third-place run. And let's hear from him. Dave Burns spoke with him a moment ago.
And Bobby Labonte comes back for a third-place finish. It looked like you had more for him. What happened there at the end?
Well, right there before that last caution flag when we got tires, the car was really loose, and I think I might have used them early on, and then we put tires on the track. I cooled off a little bit, was in the shade a lot, probably got a little too tight. Probably should have adjusted for it, but I was a little afraid to there. We were still trying to finish 6 in points, so I didn't want to make too big a change. But the Interstate Battery Pontiac ran great all day, and it was we were there top 5 and felt real comfortable. So it was a good day for us.
So I mean, really, in a situation where you normally ask for adjustments, you really didn't ask for any, and you kind of got the car to get adjustments anyway, didn't you?
Yeah, probably went a little too far, but like I said, I'd rather have been a little safe than sorry. We had a good run, and we still needed to finish this race to finish 6 in points. So it was a great day for us, and a good year when you look at it all together towards the end.
Well, and I think I know the answer to this, but looking on this whole year, what's the most memorable moment for you in a season where you didn't run all that good?
Pocono Racing Junior was probably one of the highlights, for as far as racing goes. But I think as far as the team goes, our determination to, we looked pretty bad there for a little bit. Really fell out of a bunch of races and had not as good a runs like we'd like to have from last year. And then to rebound and get better towards the end of the year, I think is satisfying to me to know that we're going in next year hopefully really strong.
All right, well, I'll fess up. I didn't know the answer to the question. I was going to say last week's win in Atlanta, but that was
it was a gift. I remember it was a gift.
There you go. That's why. It was a gift. He does get his 20th top 10 of the year. Pretty good season for him, I guess, after all.
And Dave, at Atlanta, Tony Stewart finished 9th. Here in New Hampshire, a second straight 5th place finish, but more importantly, you finished 2nd in the points. That's a lot of money. An extra $358,000. Buy some midget tires.
I'm not buying any midget tires. That's going into the retirement fund so I can get out of this series eventually. But, the guys at Home Depot did a great job all year, and all the associates backed us all year long. Everywhere we went to do autograph sessions, the SOAR associates are the ones that are pumped up the most, and, their support means more to us than anything. But, Greg Zipadelli and all the guys on the team today, they did a great job. And Sterling Marlin tried to crash us 3 or 4 times in the first 20 laps and couldn't get it done. So, I guess he thought that was his only shot at beating us today. But, we were able to hang on there. And all I know is there's one thing that I wanted to do.
All I can say is this, is that, what are you talking about retirement fun here?
No. The least you can do is let me have my moment in the sun here, Yoakum.
So
First thing I want to do is mess this hair up a lot because you've got too pretty a hair. And second of all, I want to know when you and Ingrid are getting married because she's expecting a diamond ring. So we know that you need to be getting engaged this week. Why are you getting so red?
You can afford it because you've got money for the retirement fund. What about you and Krista?
How red your face is.
What about you and Krista?
She's doing great. She's waiting on me to leave.
What about a ring for Krista?
Hold me up, and I want to leave. I've got her ring. Don't worry. I'll take.
Well, when are you going to give it?
I've given her to her once, and I screwed up and took it back. But
what about this time?
Most likely, I'm going to beat you to it.
York's looking awful good. How about that?
I tell you what. Why don't we just go to Vegas? I'm going to Vegas tonight. Why don't you and I both go? We'll go pick up Ingrid, and we'll both get married tonight.
Well, he certainly has a lot of extra.
Scared, man.
Let's go back to you, Alan.
I think I was surprised you hadn't said let's go back to Alan earlier because he was digging you quite a hole there, Yoakum.
Yeah.
The pressure's on now for both of them, isn't it? More post-race coverage when we come back to New England. The weather was fine. The racing was pretty wild at the finish. And the New Hampshire 300 presented by the new film Behind Enemy Lines. Robbie Gordon has scored his first NASCAR Winston Cup win. We've heard from all of the top 5 except 4th place finisher Matt Kenseth. And moments ago, Dave Burns spoke with him.
Matt Kenseth with another top 5. Unfortunately, it's a 4th. You didn't improve on your best finish of the year, Matt, but you ran pretty well there at the end.
Yeah, I'm not complaining. I've never even been able to see the leaders here at Loudon, so that was a great effort for all the guys on the Dwalt team. And we've been running better lately, so it's good to get a good finish to finish off the year.
How did you guys bring it around today? You said you hadn't run all that well here at Loudon. What did you do today different?
We were pretty consistent. I mean, we basically brought our Phoenix car with our Phoenix setup and kind of adjusted off of that, and we ran real well at Phoenix. So we just worked on it all day. We ran about the same all day. Just tried to get ourselves in the best position we could at the end of the race, getting 2 tires and try to hang on from there.
I mentioned you finished 4th again. You couldn't match the win that you had last year in your rookie year. What was the highlight of this season, Matt, given all the trouble you had?
There wasn't very many, I'll tell you that. Probably Michigan was the one that sticks out the most, the fall Michigan race. We started, I think, a provisional or way in the back and ran all the way up to 4th and actually ran faster than the leader most of the race, and felt like we maybe would have had a chance to win that race if it had not been shortened. So that's probably the race I felt the best about all year. But it's been a pretty dismal year. In a way, I'm glad it's over, but I'm glad we ran a little bit better at the end, so hopefully that'll keep everybody happy for the winter.
We talked about teams that were making this the first race of the 2002 season. Well, for Matt Kenseth, next time they come back here, I think they'll do it with a little more confidence.
Dave, one driver not here today was Winston Cup star Steve Park. I sat down with Park earlier this week in an interview. He told me one thing about this season. He hasn't been back to a racetrack, which has, of course, started a lot of rumors about the seriousness of his condition. But he told me the biggest reason he hasn't come back is simply this. It's too difficult. This is the second time he has sat out of his Winston Cup car. He went to a test at Kentucky. He smelled the burning of the rubber in the car. And he said he felt like it would be too difficult for him to go back. But yes, he has indeed heard the rumors and speculation about how serious of his condition.
We've heard all the rumors, and we just kind of sit back and laugh and wish we could change it, but we can't. And you know, the main thing is just getting back behind the wheel of the car. I mean, the rumors, you're not going to stop. I think not going to the racetrack is good medicine for me because I love to race these cars. And by going to the racetrack and not racing the Pennzoil car is like torture to me.
But you've been driving your car, you've been doing things around the house, you've been pretty mobile.
I think you said it best. I mean, I've cleaned the house, I've cleaned everything that belongs to the house, I've cleaned the bikes, the cars.
The boat.
The boat, and
you're even hanging on the side of the house putting gutter guards in.
I'm telling you, I thought my arm hurt because of the stuff we're doing in the gym, and it didn't. It was from putting drills and nails in, fixing the gutters. So, you know, I feel good. I want to get back behind the wheel of the cars. So right now I'm sidelined. So I'm doing all the stuff that you wouldn't normally do when you're racing.
Park told me that when he heard about Kenny Wallace winning the pole at Rockingham, he was actually driving his own truck down the road. Now he tells me his double vision has gone to blurry vision, which doctors tell him is a very good sign. It's one more step in his recovery. He also told me the timetable. Doctors told him last week, 2 months, that they feel like he can get back into a race car to test, which of course pushes the window for Speed Week. So he's hoping near the end of January to get back into a Winston Cup car and do some testing. So that's good news from the Park camp. Alan?
All right, Matt, thanks for the update. I'm glad to see Steve's doing very well. Final results of today's New Hampshire 300. Robbie Gordon, first career Winston Cup win, 19th different winner this year. Tony Stewart securing second in final points. Brett Bodine.
Good run for Brett and those guys. They made a good call, taking fuel there and hoping for a yellow.
8th place, his best of the season. Dave Blaney, final one on the lead lap.
And there you see Jeff Gordon, who just dominated the race today and finished in 15th position.
A lot of guys get trapped an extra lap or two down by a caution that came out after they stopped under the green. Bill Elliott's car sounded like the engine was going sour on it for much of the last third of the race. Kevin Harvick strong in the early going. Finished way down. Very low attrition today. Only 3 cars failed to finish.
And then we see Ricky Craven in 38th. Not the homecoming he envisioned. He was the reason for the last caution flag when he lost a right front and hit the wall.
So that's the way they ran in the season finale for 2001, the New Hampshire 300. We'll take this break, then we'll come back with some final thoughts on this 2001 campaign. The helipad's busy, the roads are busier outside the New Hampshire International Speedway after the curtain has come down on the 2001 NASCAR Winston Cup Series season. Time to wrap it up. It's been fun.
It has been terrific. You guys have been a pleasure to work with. And Wally, boy.
Well, I'm surprised you said that.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of fun with you guys. Everybody on the crew has been great. Learned a lot. Pretty fun. Except for, well,
never mind. Let's not go there. You just couldn't resist that one
I know.
final.
I just looked at you and I went to pieces.
Benny, when you come away from this season, you'll remember what?
I think, well, obviously Daytona in February, but in the NBC TNT portion of the season, I think Dale Earnhardt Jr. standing on top of his car after he won the Pepsi 400. And he stopped the car in the grass at the start-finish line and shared that moment with the fans and with us, with our TV cameras. And I thought that was just spectacular.
Wally?
I think the new guy's winning races. Just like today, you've got Robbie's worked really hard. That 31 team has worked really hard. They've never had a win for that Lowe's sponsorship. So I think having a lot of different winners, a lot of different guys in victory lane was pretty cool this year.
It's been fun, and it's time to wrap it up. So let's go back to Bill Weber.
Well, thank you, Alan. And so the season has ended. It's officially over. Let the celebration continue. Not the championship celebration. I'm talking about the celebration of living, the celebration of sport. After all, sport is the part of living that allows us to put our worries on pause so we can go play. Of course, living is the part of sport that makes us worry about how we're playing. Unfortunately, this season, those lines crossed. There was a tragic, bittersweet beginning to the season that Benny alluded to. At the Daytona 500, we won and lost at virtually the same instant. But the sport raced on with a continued emphasis on safety, and the teams continued on the way Dale Earnhardt would have wanted, without intimidation. We continue to celebrate the victories, and that's okay, because joy and excitement are still a big part of living. But this year, we remember the losses as well as the wins. Perhaps it's proper that this season ends in New England this year, instead of maybe at Atlanta or even at Homestead or The Rock. This year, it's in New England on Thanksgiving weekend, as close as we get to Plymouth Rock. My favorite memories from the year? Dover and Kansas City. Not just the races, but the places and the new and old fans that helped us get back on our feet before we restarted our engines. My favorite conversation this year wasn't with a Jarrett or a Marlin or even Stewart or Rudd, not even Jeff Gordon. It was with Dave Goldberg, who returned my call the Monday following September 11th. He finally found time to do it. Dave is more than just a friend. He's a New York City cop. And I'll never forget that Saturday morning in the garage area at Phoenix. The drivers, the firemen, and the police officers, all side by side. Our stars admiring our heroes, and our heroes shining like stars. It's been an amazing season. A special thanks and congratulations to the drivers and the teams who provided all the fun when there was so much to worry about. And now we go from New England to New York, where this country began building to where this country has already begun to rebuild. And finally, a special thanks to you, the race fan. We thank you for your support, for your perseverance, for your pride, and for your patriotism. Thank you for having us in for the races.